that's potential violence. Go fuck yourself. You don't know me. You don't know a fucking thing about me. You know nothing about my fucking lifestyle, and you don't know anything about me as a human being. That's the bottom line.
Forgot about
okay? And people want to talk shit that they know nothing about. You want to say, I'm talking shit, but I do know what I'm talking about. Fucking trash apes out there, because that's what you are. The vast majority of this movement are nothing but garbage monkeys. You are trash apes. And your minds are fucked up, and your psychologies are fucked up, and your souls are fucking fucked up. And you don't know how to do the work to make those things fucking right and to make them healed, and you're not trying to do those things. You're staying in your fucked up condition, and you're thinking that you're fine when you're completely fucked up. And this is what I've been trying to tell you here on what is happening, and it's why you're never going to achieve true freedom. It's why you're dooming the earth to slavery.
Justin Pedini, you know this is all about you, right? Have you figured that out yet? Get your ass up here, you fucking pussy.
That's what I've been saying, man.
That's what we've all been saying for years about these guys.
I guess they think we're one chicken sandwich away from a free world.
Like we've been pressing on the
good one, Devin.
What on Earth is, or the One World Network guys, and we've been critical of Mark because he hasn't done enough activism for the animals as far as like in his main stuff, and it's just like this has been what I've been waiting for from this guy for a long time to finally, you know, lay it all out. And you can't say that he's not talking about every single person on his network as well. This dude seems fed up with everyone around him. I don't know his story very well, but I'd imagine.
Hello?
Hello, everyone. What's up, Justin?
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going?
My headphones don't seem to be working. Maybe there we go.
All right, well, we'll be rolling for a little bit, so figure out whatever. See if you can work on it a little bit more. We got a couple more minutes till some people come here.
We're chilling, dude.
Big chilling.
Big chilling,
yeah.
Because you don't have your minds right and you don't have your souls right. Your minds are all fucked up. You don't know how to do basic arithmetic. You don't know how to take in information. You don't know how to sift through it. You don't know how to come to logical and reasonable conclusions about it. You jump to fucking completely unwieldy and unnecessary and stupid conclusions. You don't know how to apply the trivium. You don't know how to do the very basics of mathematics and geometry and physics, etc. You're just dumb shit apes. And you think you're okay staying like that when you're not okay. You're fucked up. And you
shit ape. Who do we know that's a shit ape? Like, I know who's popping up in everyone's head right now. And he's in the chat right now, hiding. Get up here, Justin Bedini. Justin Bedini was trying to say this video was about us.
Bro.
Are you kidding me, dude?
I think we're just waiting on Jerry at this point.
Can't you see? He's calling you out because you only talk about diet. Because we're only talking about diet.
There she is. Hey, Jerry.
Hey, sorry.
Thanks for coming.
Nice to see you all.
So we're doing round two. We're going to pick up from where we left off. And, oh, hold on one second. Yeah, there we go. So, yeah. So did you watch our last episode?
Yes.
Hold on.
I was
cool.
in it for like the last part of it.
Got it.
That anything that comes after Genesis is pretty much opinionated. It really is. It's all handwritten. It's all man. The one thing I've already stated is that everybody kind of agrees, you know, what happened within that. And as far as we talk about, like, well, that doesn't mean that it wasn't. I'm not trying to like state that people didn't eat meat and that there wasn't like this happening or whatnot. The argument is eating meat unbiblical. I think I proved that in my first conversation. And every time we move forward, I mean, I think we're just trying to piece things together. But I mean, What's the
I think we
conversation
proved it.
I
here?
guess it depends on how we define the Bible. I define the Bible with Jesus, you know, and then we have to go into that. You know, if you just want to keep it as the Torah, you know, you still have problems with, you know, Cain and Abel. Why was Cain killing Abel? Because his sacrifice of a lamb was acceptable to God. So even in Genesis, if we just take that one book, we still have an animal dying for sin.
Okay, here, I got a line here. For no man can serve two masters, for either he serves Beelzebub, and the translation for Beelzebub is Lord of the Dunghill, loosely translated. All right, and his devils, or he serves our earthly mother and her angels. Let's see, and her angels, either he serves death or he serves life. I tell you truly, happy are those that do the laws of life and wonder not upon the paths of death. For in them the forces of life wax strong, and they escape the plagues of death. Now, I know you keep saying not to bring up health, but what plagues do you think he's talking about? Jesus
None
was
I've
a healer.
experienced.
All right. On that note, we're going to watch this little short video.
As a Christian, you may be thinking, vegan, but Jesus ate fish and lamb. And if Jesus did eat meat and fish, then it can't be wrong for me to do it, right? I definitely used to think this. So join me today as we talk about all the points of Jesus' diet and how you can still be an ethical vegan. Let's start with lamb. Now, while there's absolutely no scripture claiming that Jesus specifically ate lamb, some people assume that he and his disciples would have had this during the Last Supper meal. However, during the Last Supper, the Bible only mentions bread and wine, but people will argue lamb would have been an obvious choice. It didn't need to be stated. However, there are some valid reasons why I believe Jesus didn't eat lamb. In his book, For Love of Animals, Christian Ethics, Consistent Action, the author Charles Camosy gives 3 reasons that Jesus didn't eat lamb. The first argument is, quote, Jesus and his disciples often defied the religious laws and customs of the day. We see this when Jesus and his disciples pick grain on the Sabbath, when Jesus heals on the Sabbath. And just because something was customary to do or to eat on the Passover doesn't necessarily mean Jesus did that thing, because he defied other strict religious laws and customs during his time. Second, it isn't at all clear to scripture scholars that the Last Supper was in fact a Passover meal. Now, I've heard this point argued a few times that the Last Supper was the night before Passover, the night before when the lamb would have been sacrificed. So then the Last Supper wouldn't have been a Passover Seder where lamb was traditionally served, but just a standard Jewish meal. There's a great article I will link below that will go into more detail on all of this. But in this argument is the fact then that Jesus would have been sacrificed on the day of preparation, the same day that the Passover lamb would have been sacrificed for the Passover Seder meal. And Jesus being the Lamb of God, being sacrificed on the same day as the Passover lamb seems pretty timely to me, which leads straight into the third point. Quote, the symbolism of Jesus' sacrifice, replacing the old sacrifice of the Passover lamb, is too perfect to ignore. During the Last Supper, Jesus gave bread and said, this is my body. He gave wine and said, this is my blood, which is shed for you. He is replacing the Passover lamb being eaten with bread and wine, a vegetarian vegan meal that is to show that he is the sacrifice. He is what we put our trust and hope in now. He is who reconciles us with God, not this Passover lamb. If a lamb was served at the Last Supper, don't you think it might have been mentioned by Jesus, Lamb of God, or by his disciples in order to draw a parallel between Jesus and the Passover lamb? It's just too perfect. Why wouldn't they have mentioned it? Okay, so Jesus didn't eat lamb, but he ate fish. He most certainly ate fish. Now, I'm not here to argue that Jesus didn't eat fish, although you could find that, but I'm not here to make that argument. I will say there is one instance in the entire Bible that shows Jesus eating fish, and it happens to be right after his resurrection. So let's get into that. That's going to be Luke chapter 24, verses 40 through 43. When he said this, he showed them his hands and his feet. While they still could not believe because of their joy and amazement, he said to them, have you anything here to eat? They gave him a piece of broiled fish, and he took it and he ate it before them. So this verse doesn't even say that fish is part of Jesus' normal diet. But what this section in the Bible is trying to say is that Jesus was resurrected physically. He's actually there. He's not a ghost. His disciples, joy, amazement, disbelief, doubt, they think he's probably a ghost. And to prove to them, I'm not a ghost, give me something to eat. They give him a piece of broiled fish. He eats the piece of broiled fish to show them, look, I'm physically resurrected. So that doesn't have to do with Jesus' normal diet at all. That has to do with Jesus being resurrected. But let's go on to say that it's not just that verse, but that fish was part of Jesus' normal diet. Then you say, I can eat fish and it's totally fine. However, we live in a vastly different time than Jesus did. Jesus lived in a time with a lot less viable food options. It's argued in the book For Love of Animals that in the ancient Middle East, there were a lot less adequate sources of protein than we normally have today. It's also argued in the book that if Jesus ate fish, it was most likely out of survival rather than the reasons we eat fish today, which are taste and convenience. Also, our modern fishing practices are wreaking havoc on our world, something they weren't doing back 2,000 years ago. The way
Hey guys, I got to get out of here.
bycatch, which is the incidental catch and mortality of non-targeted marine animals, is estimated to be 6.
All right, brother.
What? Who's that?
Justin left.
Yeah,
Steve
I gotta
leaving?
go. I gotta go, guys. Peace.
Okay, it's good talking to you, brother. But
Yeah, it
I
was good
think
talking to you all. Maybe we can do it again sometime. Have a good one.
Yeah, but I think your claim that it's unbiblical is unfounded. You don't have any text for that, so that's what I would add
Maybe
to that.
you might be right, but I think that if we are to follow Jesus and that is the biblical standard, I still don't agree with this, the little video that we just had there. But anyways, I
There's
don't
a
have time to get
Well,
movie.
it seems that you're not able to acquire, new information.
I would recommend watching Christspiracy and learning a little bit about this.
So anyway, that's how that ended.
Yeah.
That was, I think, like 28 minutes in to the debate, which debates are usually at least 2 hours.
Well, let's hope we don't go that long
the
this
next
time.
day, the next day, Justin did a post on Facebook. So a couple points regarding my debate. At the end of it had gotten to an hour. The show was to an hour, but the debate was only a half hour in, and I needed to eat. That was my caveat, sorry. And I needed to eat and do homework. The video shown regarding some vegan trying to say Jesus didn't eat lamb on Passover is wrong. Okay, if you disagreed with it, we were here to debate. It's kind of funny that you just decided to split.
Yes,
there are 2 Passover lambs, one for every home, and the other for public sacrifice, chosen by the priest, the high priest. Anyway, you're having the discussion you should have had on the show on the Facebook page, and you end it by saying that if we take the entire Bible with Jesus as our guide, we can see veganism is unbiblical because Jesus was not a vegan. So, and now we're back here again. He then said that he was tired, and if we had did it earlier, then he would have smoked everyone. So here we are now. And I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to give Justin, even though he split last time, I'm going to give him the opening statement.
All right. Well, just going off that last video, there's multiple times where Jesus attended Passover and where he would have been eating the meat if he was following the law. And I think he followed the law to the T. He fulfilled the law. That was something in the video that she doesn't understand, that he had to actually meet requirements that Moses put down through God. And in doing that, he became the perfect sacrifice because he was sinless. Does that make sense? If he had broken the law in certain points, he wouldn't have been sinless. He wouldn't have been the perfect sacrifice. He wouldn't have been able to fulfill the Mosaic law. And if you want to go, there was Luke 2, I think 14 is the one that I said I was going to bring up this time. And that was him as a child attending the Feast of Passover. I could pull up the exact verse, but you can read it. And he says he attends the Feast of Passover with his parents. And part of that feast, if you go to Exodus, in Exodus 12:8, what does Exodus 12:8 tell us? That the meat is to be prepared, roast lamb, along with the herbs and vegetables and everything else. All right. So that was supposed to be eaten. It wasn't just supposed to be wasted. And the whole point of that is that Jesus would have, in following the law, been eating the lamb. And then he furthers it up and he says, I've greatly desired to eat this with you. So I don't think there is a problem to eating meat, considering that God prescribes it in Exodus.
Are we allowed to respond yet, or?
Are you done, Justin?
Yeah, no, you guys can respond. That's perfectly fine.
Go ahead.
Awesome. So I want to look at Exodus 12:8. I'm looking at the New International Version. It says, that same night they are to eat the meat roasted over the fire along with bitter herbs and bread made without yeast. So the way I read that specific scripture, it says that that was a recipe for that specific evening. I don't necessarily see that as a dictum moving forward for every single Passover thereafter. So I think that could be left to interpretation. Also, if we look at Luke 2:41 to 52, I'll read it now. Every year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the festival of the Passover. When he was 12 years old, they went up to the festival according to the custom. Notably, it says they went. After the festival was over, while his parents were returning home, the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem, but they were unaware of it. Thinking he was in their company, they traveled on for a day. Then they began looking for him among his relatives and friends. When they did not find him, they went back to Jerusalem to look for him. After 3 days, they found him in the temple courts, sitting among the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. Everyone who heard him was amazed at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. His mother said to him, "Son, why have you treated us like this? Your father and I have been anxiously searching for you." "Why were you searching for me?" he asked. "Didn't you know I had to be in my father's house?" But they did not understand what he was saying to them. Then he went down to Nazareth with them and was obedient to them. But his mother treasured all these things in her heart. And Jesus grew in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and men. So in that specific scripture, which I just finished reading, there's no mention of him partaking in the Passover meal itself, nor is there any mention of the particulars of what was served that day. I would also like to bring up some other scriptures. Here in Genesis 1:29 to 30, it says, "And God said, Behold, I give you every plant that produces seeds upon the earth, and every tree that has fruit with its seed inside of it. Ye shall be your food. And I shall give all green plants to every wild animal, and to all the birds of the air, and to all the creatures that move upon the surface of the earth, and that have the breath of life in them." And it was so. There specifically, it doesn't say that man is to eat of the animals. It specifically mentions the seeds of the earth and every tree with fruit with the seed inside of it. These shall be your food. Moving forward into Isaiah 11:6 to 9, it says, "The wolf shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the young goat, and the calf and the lion and the fattened calf together, and a little child shall lead them. The cow and the bear shall graze, their young shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. The nursing child shall play over the hole of the cobra, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the adder's den. They shall not hurt or destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea." So the way I interpret this specific scripture is there's this man-made version of what we colloquially refer to as the animal kingdom or the food chain, where there's this assumption that, you know, because we see whatever, like a lion eating a gazelle, therefore we, as, you know, analogous seemingly superior creatures, should therefore partake of the smaller or lower creatures in a man-made sense of hierarchy. That hierarchy is basically broken down in that scripture from Isaiah 11:6 to 9. It's about not destroying or hurting in all my holy mountain. So, you know, I think that's a pretty specific, you know, example of why Christians should consider being vegan. Finally, I would like to end with this quote from the First of Corinthians 8:13. "Hence, if food can lead my brother to sin, I will never again eat meat, lest I cause the downfall of one of my brethren." So again, I think there's plenty of scriptures. I have more examples of why it is actually biblical. It is Christian to be vegan.
Go ahead, Christian.
Oh, I guess I would just kind of keep it super simple on this one because of how we handled it before. Where in the Bible does it say how to properly sacrifice an animal? I guess that's kind of an important one. I mean, if we're supposed to eat animals and they're a part of a sacrifice system, where does it say how us as Christians are supposed to properly sacrifice an animal? How do we do that according to the Bible?
Word. Well, I just have a couple things, and pardon me, not like I'm paraphrasing things. So I believe Genesis 1:12-9. It seemed like from when I read it, it said when we were vegan, we lived 900 years. But then the second we went into sin and started eating animals, look, we live, 60, 70 years. So that seemed pretty telling. There was a line where he was like, I'm not going to sit and eat this lamb with you. That sounded pretty sus to me. I have come to destroy the sacrifices. That was a pretty interesting word. Proverb 12, righteous man cares for the needs of animals. The kindest acts of the wicked are cruel. Also, give me 1 second. These are all just, okay, so Exodus 12:43-49. You were talking about it earlier. I'm just going to read this passage just because it's kind of seems a little sus to me. And the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, this is a statute of the Passover. No foreigner shall eat of it, but every slave that is bought for money may eat of it after you have circumcised him. No foreigner or hired worker may eat it. It shall be eaten in one house. You shall not take any of the flesh outside of the house, and you shall not break any of its bones. All of the congregation of Israel shall keep it. If a stranger shall sojourn with you, and wood or hired worker may eat of it. I don't know if that connected right. It shall be eaten in one house. You shall not take any of the flesh outside of the house, and you shall not break any of the bones. All of the congregation of Israel shall keep it. If a stranger should, if a stranger should sojourn with you and would keep the Passover of the Lord, let all his males be circumcised, then he may come near and keep it. He shall be as native of the land, and no uncircumcised person shall eat of it. That's a little sus. It seems like there's a lot of circumstances to this carnism. And yeah, so those were just a couple things in my readings that were kind of and like I said in the first episode, it seemed a lot like the Garden of Eden was vegan, and it seemed like God very begrudgingly allowed these sinful humans to eat animals, but told them, like, warned them, like, hey, look, like, you're gonna have a lot of karma built up, and it's going to be really hard for you to get out of that. And then the passage that Jerry read about the lion eating wheat and everyone getting along and not harming each other, it seems like the beginning of the Bible was vegan, and then God's ideal future is vegan. So for you to just say that veganism is unbiblical because of over a couple small passages that Carnus wrote, I think it's a little far-fetched to say the unbiblical thing. To say, you could say plenty of other things about the Bible that would be true, but unbiblical, I just don't believe that. But I'm not going to be interacting much from now on. So you guys could have at it any way you want. Open discussion time.
I got a couple people to respond to, so I can just sort of sum up everything. Most of you guys are conflating the present world with the Garden of Eden, let's say, or say the world when Christ comes back, right? And those are very different than where we currently are at. We are not, Christ is not here ruling and reigning. except within us. All right. Okay. He's not, the lion is still eating the gazelle, as we've seen. It's not eating straw. The asp is still over the hole. And if a child puts his hand on it, it's going to die because the Lord is not here.
So defer to the more sinful diet instead of deferring
no. When
to
did
the
God
original diet that he had
allow?
wanted
When
us
did
to?
God
That makes no sense to me. You're
prescribe?
like, oh well,
almost
since things are bad
meat?
now, I'm just going to continue being bad instead of being a good, compassionate person, which the Bible teaches. Sorry, I said I wasn't going to butt in, but I won't butt in
All right.
anymore.
Now, let me continue where I was going with that, because when did God institute meat? And that was right after the flood. And you can say, oh,
Literally right after.
people were
He
vegan.
didn't
That's true, they
institute it.
were.
He allowed
But it was
it
immediately after the
begrudgingly.
flood. And the post-flood world is not as nice as the pre-flood world. The food is not as nice as they had. It's not as sustaining. It's not as close to the tree of life, which, probably got destroyed in the flood. All right.
Probably.
Maybe it didn't.
Yep.
Maybe
The
it's still
vegan
here
tree
in
of
some
life.
desert somewhere, but I don't know. The point being is that was a different environment than we have now. All right. Completely different circumstances. Now, in the present age, Jesus is our guide. And he said, okay, if we want to be Christian, we have to follow Jesus and what Jesus did. All right. And if Jesus was eating meat, and he ate fish for one. And at all those Passover meals, in order to abide by Exodus 12:8, which was a prescription from God, if they were to keep the Passover, and says, look at what the prescriptions that you read, Jeffrey, about what's to happen if they don't keep the Passover. All right. Or the prescriptions around the Passover. It was very important that they all keep the Passover. It's not like it was just some optional thing, and they weren't just killing these lambs for no reason. There was a definite reason for what God is doing. And I think the reason is in this present age, there is not enough land, I think, to feed every single human being that we have right now. I don't think that there is with current land allotments. We need meat. We need to raise livestock to eat currently. Now, when the Lord comes back, you know what? Another thing it says in the Bible, that he's going to do away with the stomach completely. It says food and drink are not something we should set our eyes upon, because he's going to do away with the stomach completely. So what does that tell you? In the future, yes, maybe we won't be vegan. We won't be eating anything. We'll be living on the righteousness and joy and the life of God in the Holy Spirit. But currently, that's not a reality that we can enter into until God comes back, until Jesus comes back. And that is, I think, why we are orphans. And
okay, hold on. You said a lot. We're in a debate. We got to unpack some of this stuff.
You can unpack some of that.
So we absolutely
please do
can feed every single person on the planet.
Thank you.
If we stop feeding animals plants. We feed a huge amount. A cow, in order to make a 1,000,000-calorie cow, you have to feed it 5 million calories of plants. So this idea, I don't know where you got that we can't feed.
Well, where are those plants? Are those grass that we eat grass? No, the land. There's about 6 billion acres, my friend, of land that we cannot raise fruits on.
Hold on. What?
We
6 billion acres.
Feed every human on this planet and then some with the plants that we are growing right now. So you just based your whole argument on you think
we have enough. You think I didn't base my whole argument on that.
Most basic
I'm
of
saying
stuff
that that's
together
a logical explanation for why Jesus would eat meat.
On something that's a fallacy. And that's why I have you up here, because you people are straight up lying. Like, you don't know the facts. You've never researched this stuff. Yet you're an expert on veganism and the Bible.
And what the Bible says about it. And if Jesus is our guide and he made the land and 6 billion acres of it can't be used for raising meat or raising vegetables,
how come it's
what are we supposed to do with that land? Just walk around on it? Just walk around on the land?
Throughout the Bible. I don't see him anywhere.
You don't see him eating meat anywhere, like the fish that he ate and served, or in terms of the
No, I just
Passover
said,
that he
okay,
attended
besides the one
multiple times. I
example
mean,
that
did
you've
Jesus
given,
not
which
eat
could
anything?
have
Was he
been
just eating bread?
a bad read, a bad what's it called, translation. Where is the carnist that you're talking about? There should be hundreds of instances of them clearly saying Jesus ate the lamb, but you're just
Why?
assuming these
It was
things
assumed in
and
the day.
claiming that
Why
the
would they? Why would they
Bible
have
is
to state something so
unbiblical,
obvious?
which means against the Bible. Unbiblical means against the Bible. There's nothing I've seen to prove that.
I wasn't even going to use Jesus in my argument at all, because I feel like that wasn't the conversation. I feel like the topic was, is it unbiblical? And if we talk about where the foundation of the Bible started, worked its way up, where God created us, how we were designed to be, what the Garden of Eden was, I mean, it's a pretty bold statement to say it's unbiblical when, I mean, it's the foundation of it.
No, I'm saying it's unbiblical in the present age. There's a big difference. There's a big difference. And so, therefore, since we are in the present age, it is an unbiblical proposition to be a vegan.
Okay, but also, so like, let's just say from a completely different angle, right? We'll talk about medical on this end. If we look at everything when it comes to diseases, they're either sanitation or zoonotic. Dude, it's a direct connection to how we farm, to how we eat, and how that passes over to humans. If we didn't eat animals and farm them, factory farm them the way we did, we wouldn't have the type of outbreaks and the pandemics that we do today.
Yeah, eating bats is a little different. And we would still get sickness and disease regardless of, I'm pretty sure we would still have sickness and disease running around because
people have been eating
where would
bats
it go?
for millions of years, bro.
For millions of years. Well, I can debate millions of years. I could say maybe thousands, but not millions.
Semantics.
So the Spanish flu was from eating bats.
It was. Was it from eating bats? I thought no. I was thinking of the bubonic plague. That was mice. Pretty sure.
All this stuff happens in big cities where people eat meat.
Yes, but people gather in big cities. You don't think vegans would live in big cities where rats and cats and dogs and all these things are going to be? Because I mean, that's another thing you guys aren't factoring in. What are you doing with these cats and dogs? What are you doing with the cats and dogs? They're eating meat. They have to basically.
And we talk about
healthy.
it quite often. We're constantly talking. Pet ownership is one of the most non-vegan things that many vegans do. We talk about. I don't know if you've ever watched the show. We criticize other vegans on here. We criticize good activists and we criticize bad activists.
That's problematic,
and that's why we're here, or at least on my show. This isn't my show, but
I have a really funny story about cats. So I literally back in
Christian, let's stay in the debate if this has something to do with something that's very relevant. But go ahead, Jerry. Jerry wants to talk.
Okay.
Oh, thanks. I was just gonna say, I think it's if we are to adopt a Christian perspective on the Bible and we ignore what was written in the Old Testament and just focus on the New Testament, right? Like, while I understand the argument that you're making about how we need to sort of look at the world differently. Again, I'm speaking from a Christian perspective. If we're to look at the world differently once Jesus comes onto the scene, and we ignore what was learned in the Old Testament times, I think we miss the whole message, right? There are debates, for example, with the bread and fish. If fish is the exact translation, it could have referred to a sea vegetable. So it's not clear that Jesus specifically ate fish. And again, as for the Passover meals, with regard to, again, the translation from Luke that we read earlier, it's not clear that lamb was served, and it's not clear that Jesus ate that lamb. So I also think, like, in regards to the argument of, well, we need to eat meat. I'm not sure where that word need is coming from. Could we at least agree today that it's not a sin to be vegan? I don't think it harms Jesus or anyone to be vegan. And if I were a Christian following this line of thinking, just in case, why not be vegan? It says so. I think we can agree in the Old Testament. It's very clear that, that's what was the preferred diet that God preferred humans to have. So as a Christian, why not just try it? You're not harming anyone by doing it, by choosing that.
I have tried it. I've done veganism, complete veganism, and it destroyed my mental health. And it was extremely difficult for me to get nutrients.
You stopped wearing wool, and you stopped wearing leather, and you stopped using like big shavers and all that stuff.
No, I didn't get that far into it.
Okay,
it was just
you
about
were
the
not
diet.
full
It was
on
about
vegan,
it was about making sure I was not eating meat in my
get
diet.
some definitions correct since we're in a debate.
Okay, all right. So I wasn't a pure vegan.
You
my
were a
bad.
plant-based
So I was a
fad
partial
dieter,
vegan, and in my partial
failed
veganness,
immediately, who didn't really have the care in his heart enough to continue the diet. You were simply doing it
because I have to care for myself, and if I'm going to function in society,
you're not full on vegan. That's all I have to say about that.
So, what I'm hearing is that you quit the vegan diet due to nutrition purposes.
Yeah, for my health and for my mental health. And then as soon as the first thing I ate, ironically, was a piece of fish. It was at a sushi restaurant. And I was gonna just get the edamame, but I was like, you know what? I can't do this. And so I got the fish. And then I looked into the Bible a little bit more about what Jesus did, and he was okay with that. And then as I looked into it further, he most likely, if you take the plain reading of the Bible and you don't interject your own personal beliefs into it, it's pretty clear he ate the meat if he was following the law, if he was fulfilling the law and was the perfect sacrifice for us to replace the lamb that God prescribed in the Old Testament.
Do you mind showing the scripture?
If it's the law, where does it say to properly sacrifice said animal or fish, or how do we go about doing this? Like,
I'm pretty sure you just slit its throat.
Is that that's how we go base off of pretty sure? I'm pretty sure that's just how that works.
I'm not sure if there was a specific prescription by God for how to do it, but that seems to be the way that they did it in the Old Testament. Times they would slit the lamb's throat with a knife. So perhaps it is prescribed in the Bible somewhere. I didn't research that super far into exactly how they're sacrificing the animals.
Well, when you said you were looking, because
sacrificed lambs.
What's that?
Do you only eat sacrificed lambs?
No, I eat meat. Meat in general.
Meat? No, you eat
and
flesh.
There's also
meat could be any type of apple.
Exactly.
The inside of an apple is meat. You eat flesh. That's another thing we need to get correct. Is in the Bible, meat does not mean meat like you say, like you're using it. They use the word flesh.
Or not Luke,
Quite obviously, they use the word flesh when they're talking about eating what you say is meat. So from now on, say flesh instead of meat, because meat.
I'll say meat.
You know, the nut meat. You know, like that's not the right definition. In a debate, you have to be very clear about what you're talking about.
That might be a good thing to say. Apple flesh, the flesh of an apple. The meat of an apple.
That word that way, dude. No one. That's
you can actually. I've used that word, and I know plenty of people that use that word
that way.
So if we want to argue over semantics, we can. And what words should be coming out of my mouth and what words should be coming out of yours.
For many things, flesh is not. Flesh is animal. It's your arm is flesh.
Well, what is flesh? Flesh is just an exterior surface that protects us. So the flesh of an apple is the skin.
Okay, so going back to what you said about nutrition, first of all, I want to hold space for that. before I became vegan, I was vegetarian for most of my life, and I was anemic. I wasn't supplementing correctly. I relied on dairy products for most of my protein, and once I made that switch and I learned how to supplement myself more, I was able to, take care of the anemia. As for the mental health, I have also had depression, and I just want to hold space for, mental health challenges. I'm not sure it was due to my diet. I
Hey,
think.
Jerry, I'm sorry to interrupt. I want to let you know there's a bad echo. It's pretty distracting.
Oh, from my end?
I think so.
Oh, my bad.
We can't hear it here. It's on your
I
end.
don't hear it. I don't hear it.
I can't hear it.
So anyway, yeah, like I just want to hold space for, your nutrition challenges that you had. I highly encourage you to consider trying it again. And if you want help in, finding ways of supplementing, having, spirulina, nutritional yeast, there's things that you can do to get the sort of vitamins. Because, like, for example, like being Asian American, like I eat seaweed a lot more than like most Western vegans might, right? And so, because that's part of like my home culture. So like just having a diverse array of options, I think would be helpful for you if you ever do consider trying veganism again. And as for the mental health, like at least for me, I found that there was a whole lot of other things that had nothing to do with my diet that I needed to address. So I think can we agree that it's not a sin to be vegan? I hope
Yes.
that we can. Great. So and in that process, if we can agree on that, and if we can agree that, the Old Testament does kind of suggest that humans be vegan, wouldn't it behoove the average Christian to consider veganism, since it's not a sin, and since the Old Testament does support that lifestyle? What are your thoughts on those topics?
My thought is it still goes back to Jesus, and that's all I can say. Is it goes back to him, and he's my guide. And I think that it's nice. It's not sinful to be vegan, but I personally, maybe I need to research this more. Like Jeff, he's saying maybe he can share with me sources online, like actual good ones that can support his point rather than just blatantly say no or this. But like I said,
what I'm doing
with the land usage,
debate?
with just land usage alone, I don't believe that to feed the population that we have today, I don't think that it's enough land for we need to use that other land that God prescribed for for livestock. And that grass needs to be eaten by cows or somebody. What's that grass going to do? We can't grow vegetables on that land. So why not feed cows that? And then if part of their life is dying and providing sustenance for us, that's a good use for them. For this present age. That's a good use for them. Now, maybe we need to stop breeding them so much when Jesus comes back and, we have a great feast. It'll be the feast of the Lord and all the meat gets brought in. And then he's like, hey, you know what? No need for this anymore. Maybe that's what'll happen. But until that day, until that glorious day, I think that maybe we can agree on this, that being a carnist is not a sin. Because I think that some people like to impose that upon the mindset.
I'll tell you what, I would agree if the animal willingly hands himself over to you. If an animal looked you in the face and said, you know what, I think I'm done with this whole situation. I've put my hooves forward enough. I've laid in this grass enough. I think I'm done. How about you just slit my throat? We're good. You eat me.
But an animal could fall off of a cliff and die, and then like it's not using its body anymore. Its spirit isn't even there to own its body. I don't think that
Yeah, do what you
scavenging
do.
is unethical.
I don't either, actually. I mean, that's between you and God. I don't give a shit. I've said this before last time. I don't care, dude. You want to eat roadkill? That's up to you. That's between you and God. I don't know the position. I apparently don't have the knowledge basis to know if it's okay to eat a dead corpse or not. As far as it already being a corpse, if you killed it, paid for it, it doesn't seem.
I don't think it's unethical to eat it. It's unethical to kill it. It's just that killing it usually eating it usually requires you to kill it first.
For what reason? Unless survival.
Or it could die of natural causes. What do you mean?
You know,
just
I
so
think
it
something
doesn't go to
interesting that came to
waste.
mind here, guys.
It's nutrition.
I don't think it's nutrition. That's your choice. That's what I mean is like I don't see it the same way you do it. If you want to do that, I look at it as the same way as you wanting to do heroin. Dude, that is up to you. That's your decision. I don't know the outcome of that.
Heroin will make you feel good.
Heroin actually will make you feel good.
I agree.
So
and you know, me and Christian, I'm pretty sure me and Christian could beat you two in any physical challenge. Any physical challenge. We're both endurance athletes, so health. You don't want to talk about health over here, bro, because you'll get smoked.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't look at meat as a level of nutrition. When you basically are eating a third grade source to get the nutrition that animal ate in the first place, because let's be honest, you're not eating a lion, you're not eating a tiger, you're eating a cow. What do cows eat? Cows eat plants. Where is the cow getting his nutrition from? It's kind of a ridiculous argument. Why not just eat plants to get the actual nutrition? If all amino acids are fine, they need other plants. All amino acids come from plants in the first place.
But my favorite thing is when anti-vegans start saying you guys have to take supplements, as if the 2% of vegans on the planet are solely responsible for the entire supplement industry of the world. It's all carnists taking those supplements, guys. So don't even talk to me about health or supplementation because you'll get smoked.
I don't take any supplements.
I've been hearing them since the 90s.
No
Let's
supplements
get back on the Bible stuff. So we figured out that the Bible, it's not sinful, but is it still unbiblical? Unbiblical means against the Bible.
To answer that question, you have to find the true meaning of the Bible, and it's a spiritual book, or some people call it a grimoire, but it definitely does have a lot of knowledge in it. But the main message it's trying to teach is actually an esoteric message. All the literal sayings in the Bible are the exoteric message. It's not meant to be understood at face level. It's meant to be something that if you read the whole thing, some of the literal. My own echo's driving me crazy. I hear it with all of you too. But
wasn't that happening in class?
Do you have a headset, bro?
I do have a headset.
Yeah, you're gonna need a headset.
Put a headset on.
I'm gonna take it off.
Oh, okay.
Try it without it.
Try it off.
I
or
want to
just ignore the echo and know that we're hearing you clearly.
I just want to throw this out here. When we talk about what is the point of the Bible, I just want to clarify that the Bible was not written by God. It was written by man. So the conversation of what was the point of the Bible, I really don't.
I think I'm going to have to leave and come back. Sorry about that.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, dude. Go ahead, Christian. Continue.
Oh no, I was just saying. In my mind, when people say, "Well, what is the point of the Bible?" I don't believe there's this level of hierarchy of knowledge to. Oh, the Bible leads to this. Kind of like a holy grail concept. I don't believe that's the Bible. In my mind, from growing up, learning history the way that I do, the Bible's a level of control. That was the reason it was made. It was made to have a level of control, whether it was a level of belief system of control or a level of forward control to have over a group of people, a forwarding of people. It's just when you look at the layout of the Bible and how it was written, same with the Quran. I mean, there are two books that in my mind were written to basically tell people like, do this, don't do that. Do this, but don't do that. If you do this, you don't do that. But in reality, if you break the Bible down, they took a bunch of people's morals and belief systems in their lifetime and used it against them.
Well, yeah, but I want to honor the spirit of this debate as well, and just say, like, I think there are some truths in there as well, and like
Oh, I agree.
Jesus was a vegan anarchist, and I think Jesus stood for a lot of things that we in the vegan / truther / freedom community believe in. And so, yeah, going back to what you said earlier, Justin, I think looking at Jesus's words and actions can be certainly a point of inspiration. And again, if you can show a specific example in the scripture where it says Jesus was chomping down on some fishtails or lamb rib or whatever.
Well, it's a matter of semantics. It does mean fish, but you guys think it means sea vegetable. So it's like, which one's right? I mean, the vast majority of translations go with fish.
Well, Piska does, but Kishka doesn't.
I'm just asking you if you could just please cite an example, and then we could talk about it.
Luke 24:42.
Luke 24:42. Awesome, thanks. Also, while I'm looking up and reviewing this,
pull up the Greek too.
And while you're researching that, let me just say this little point about the Bible. The whole point of it is Jesus said, he said, I said you are gods. All right. That is the point. We are to have eternal life. All right. That's what Jesus taught. Now, sin is separating us from that. All right. And there's consequences for every sin. Something suffers. All right. And they could be little sins. They could be big sins. Maybe you just lied and somebody suffers as a result of that lie. Way down the road, because it was just a little lie. You didn't consider that they took you literally and you were just joking around, And so sin has consequence. And that's what God is teaching us with the diet, with the Paschal lamb. And we are to wait on Jesus to return to free us from some of the issues like these diet arguments that we're having. All right. And I think we're going to probably have these arguments, till the end of time.
It's not a diet argument. It's a morality argument.
If you guys can't accept that it's a plain fish and you guys want to interpret it as a sea vegetable, or I can't accept that it's a sea vegetable, even though it's whatever, however you want to look at it, we're not going to agree if we're not arguing, if we're not coming to a common definition of a word.
I agree.
Complete agreement that sin is when we if we're a cause of harm, we are affecting suffering in others. That's sin. And I'm in complete agreement with that, and that's in line with a lot of Eastern philosophies on this concept of karma, right? In the community that a lot of us are a part of, we have a term called natural law that covers this concept of cause and effect, right? Of sin and suffering. And so my question to you is this, as before we go into the scripture, if you're pulling a fish out of the water, flopping, and it's opening its mouth, for oxygen but not able to receive it in the air. When you separate a cow from its calf, a mother cow from its calf, so it can no longer have milk from its mother, and the mother just stays, in place and in frozen just from the devastation of not being with its calf. When you see pigs squealing in pain when they're suffering from being slaughtered, what suffering do you view that as suffering? Do you view that as a sin when you see those animals acting in very clearly in a way that is suffering?
Well, my point is this. Have you seen a human die? Have you seen somebody take their last breath? Have you seen them struggle to swallow liquid and get it down as they're trying to? And that's a consequence of sin. They should not have to die. And God had to impose their death because of sin.
Are we gods?
And that is a fact. And so animal suffering.
Animals?
What's that?
Are we gods to impose our will against animals?
Yes. We are gods
Where
to
does it
impose our
say
will
that
against
in the
animals.
Bible, where we're gods over animals?
It says in their scripture, it says, I said you are gods. Multiple places in the Old Testament, and then Jesus quotes it directly in the New.
Over animals?
We
You know
are,
what I've
we are
noticed?
gods. Over
You know what's
animals, yes.
interesting?
We live in dominion
It's
over
not
them.
a sin because we're gods.
No, I never said that. I said it's not a sin. Actually, I would say that. Yeah. It's not a sin because God is teaching us a lesson about sin through eating meat.
So
That's
eating
the
meat is
point.
sin. Would you agree?
And we are more valuable than many sparrows, as Jesus says.
All right. And so why are we more valuable?
Why? Because we are made in the image and likeness of God. Animals are not.
No, animals are made in the image and likeness of God as well. Like everything has
They have a form
magnetic
of
field.
God,
But we
but
only
they're
see our
not.
physical body. The true shape of us is a torus, and it's the same shape as the whole universe. And we're all part of the whole universe. And God is something greater than the whole universe.
No, he's not. Jeffrey, he's not talking about that God. He's talking about the God in the Abrahamic religion that
Yahweh.
you know. Yeah.
Oh, I'm talking about the God that's outside time.
No, you're not. You're not
Yes,
talking
I am.
about the
How can you
God
prophesy of
that's
Jesus
in
coming in the Old
everything that
Testament
runs
if he wasn't outside
creation,
time
that
and space?
is in the divinity of creation. You're not talking about that God.
You can find that God even in the Bible. Like all the Abrahamic religions are perverted and they're just used for control and corruption. Like even the religious scripts that they're all based off of. But even
That's
those
what I was
are based off of some more ancient knowledge that was perverted. There are like good truths in there, and there is a message to Christianity, and it's actually the same message as all the other spiritual traditions, Abrahamic and non-Abrahamic. You've got to understand it's a metaphor; it's not literal. But the truth is, Christ will save you from sin. Christ is also what will save the whole universe. But you have to understand that Christ, the real meaning of Christ,
who is Christ to you?
It's not some being in the sky. It's inside me. It's inside you. It's inside all of us. The same Christ. It's the conscience.
Okay.
The conscience. The conscience is the only thing that will save you from wrongdoing. Because if you know something's wrong, the conscience makes you feel that, and you just listen to that and don't violate your conscience. That's the only thing that will save anything from sin. And
so I kind of want to go back to what we established. We established that the animals do suffer at our hands if we kill them. We established that it's not a sin because we are gods over them. So we are admitting that they are suffering and that it is a sin for them to suffer, but we're absolved from that sin because we're gods over the animals. And so I'm asking.
No, I wouldn't say that. No. I wouldn't say that.
That's what. So, okay. So let's go back. So
let's go back to that. Yeah.
If a pig is squealing, if a pig is squealing for its life as you slaughter it, so that you can eat it, is that suffering?
That's a consequence of sin. It's not a sin itself.
And so the sin in that specific instance
that caused that suffering was Eve eating the apple.
Okay, and so that is a sin to.
So
that one choice that Eve made resulted in that animal suffering and dying.
That's the same false logic that the order followers use. They think that they're not sinning by ordering someone else to commit a murder. And the order giver believes that, but the order follower also believes that they're not sinning because they're just doing what they were told. The cause is the order giver. So the one doing the actual killing says that he's not responsible. But it's the same thing with Eve taking the bite of the apple. You're saying that's the cause of you killing the animal. You had the responsibility. You had the ability to respond by choosing not to kill the animal up until the last moment when you took the action of killing the animal. Like, you are the one most responsible. Even if there's something that influenced you, the very most responsible is the one who takes the action. So the main cause of the action is the one who takes it, not Eve biting the apple.
No,
So-
but see, the death entered the world through sin.
Okay.
All right? So the fact that animals die, the fact that we die, is a result of sin, correct?
Okay. So
we can agree that we all die, right?
Going back to the pig
Or do you guys
example,
think you're going to live forever?
can we go back to the pig
I mean, I
example?
think that.
I just want to
I'm not gonna
establish
stop.
premises. I
Could
just
you
want
let
to.
her ask her question, please?
Is it a sin for a human being to kill a pig for its consumption, for the human's
No.
consumption when the pig is suffering? Okay.
No.
And so why? Why is that not a sin?
Why is that not a sin? Because God didn't forbid it.
Okay.
And
So it's okay. So in your mind, even though the animal is clearly suffering, and even though we have previously defined sin as causing an effect of suffering from
I suffered when I was vegan. And my life is more valuable
If you say
than
that
when
God did not
let her
forbid
talk.
killing the animal for consumption, you miss the main point of the Bible.
Hold on, you guys.
Why is your life more valuable? Because you're a human?
I think I got muted there. Anyways, why is yes, that's exactly why.
Okay.
Because I am a human being,
Say that-
and human beings are much more valuable
valuable
than any animal on this planet. Even one
Why?
human being. My niece, for
Why-
example.
Why?
I would happily kill all the animals on the planet to save her life.
Okay.
Happily.
Why are humans more valuable?
Why?
Why are humans more valuable? Ask God why. Because we're made in his image and likeness.
No, we're asking you
Okay.
why.
Asking you.
Do you have nieces
are
and
the one
nephews? Do you have
making-
children?
Yes.
Do you have
Let
people
me
you
answer
love?
that.
I have
Value
children.
is subjective.
Okay, so let me ask you, if it was the choice between all the animals in the world dying and that person you love's life, are you going to choose the animals or that person's life?
I'd flood
Choose
the
the
world out.
animals. I'm gonna choose the animals.
Hold on.
You're going to
I
choose
flood
the
the
animals.
world out.
Okay.
I'm gonna flood the world
I'm
out.
not that person.
The animal's life is
Hold on,
most valuable to the animal.
everybody. So, Steven,
I'd flood the world.
what
Yep.
what attribute about humans do you think is more valuable than animals?
What differentiates us from animals?
What value do we provide over animals?
The fact that we have words that come out of our mouth, the
Okay.
fact that we have a consciousness that can
So do
see
they.
eternity. They
Great.
don't.
Okay.
We have a consciousness that can see
Question.
eternity. They can only
So
see a very
by that
limited
definition,
what's in front of their
Steven, then we
face,
should
what they're
eat
eating.
and kill people that are mentally disabled.
Exactly. So because intellectually disabled people do not have
They're
the
still
same.
made in the image of God. Are you saying that animals are and
We're
disabled people are
going
the
by
same?
your definition, bro. We're going
No,
by your
no,
definition.
I didn't say that.
You
I said that
people
we're made in
talk
the image and
think
likeness
on
of God.
advanced level. Someone who has a mental problem might not be able to talk or think on advanced level, so we should eat them, is what you're saying.
No,
I know it's a strong
somebody
man,
that
but
doesn't
you get
talk
it.
and they're human. We value their life even if because they have a consciousness that sees
Why?
eternity.
So if
Did you
they
not hear
don't
that
have
part?
that consciousness,
Did you
then
not
they
hear that
can't
part? That we have a
communicate on the
consciousness that
level.
sees
Why
eternity.
do we value
Animals
them?
don't. And so when we're facing certain death,
Disabled human does
it
not have
sucks.
a conception or understanding of eternity and cause and effect the way we're having right now.
Say that again.
An intellectually disabled human or a baby who is in the image of a god, human, whatever, I'm borrowing these vocabulary and terminology, right? But like, so we're saying God made humans in God's image, and we're saying the Christians are saying that, and the Christians are also saying, well, all right, the reason why humans are different from animals is because animals don't have the same consciousness of, understanding eternity and understanding God, and so that's why we're different from animals. And so to that, I say, if you have an intellectually disabled person or a baby human,
What intellectually disabled person do you know that wants to
Steven,
die?
stop talking. Stop interrupting.
Oh,
Control
okay.
yourself. Remember, you said you're all mentally stable now that you eat meat. So act it.
Oh my goodness. First of all, I'm not here. I'm here because I care, Justin. I care about you and I care about your soul. And I think that like deep down, it's suffering and it's sin to eat another being. that God made. God made those creatures. And for us to take it is wrong. And I think you know that. I think you know that deep down. And you're using these arguments and scriptures and justifications. But deep down, I just feel it. I just feel like you wouldn't, you know that it's wrong. And that's why you became vegan before. And I would love for you to try again. I really want you to try again.
The animal's life is the most valuable thing to the animal. Just like your life is likely the most valuable thing to you.
The pig squeals and struggles, so does the baby, so does the intellectually disabled person when you put a knife to its throat. It's the same reaction. And that should stir, that dissonance that you're feeling right now in that example is care. You have it in your heart. You know it's wrong to kill a pig, just as it would be to kill a baby, just as it would be to kill an intellectually disabled person. It's all the fucking same. You know, that dissonance that you're feeling right now, this isn't an argument, this isn't a debate, this is just checking in with our hearts. You know it's wrong, and please just consider being a vegan and consider teaching other Christians this. Please.
Am I allowed to speak?
Yes.
Okay. I thought I was just responding to points that were being made in there, so I apologize for interrupting previously.
It's okay.
I just thought it was important to correct certain things. But anyways, the point being is that the difference between the pig and the human is the pig, maybe he sees death as, suffering. That's all he's seeing. But we have lives that we've lived, and other than just eating grass, we do good works. We have family. We have a consciousness of reality that even intellectually disabled people have families.
The baby
have
doesn't
these
have
things,
good works.
and they appreciate them. And my point being is not that the animal's life should be taken, all right, but that as a result of sin being in the world, and it still is in the world, nobody's perfect until we see Christ come back. And that's the point. That's the point. Sin is still in the world, and we are going to be eating meat.
We shouldn't propagate sin just because it's in the world.
I'm not propagating sin.
Correct.
It's not sin to eat an animal.
We
You
define
guys are saying that it's a sin to eat an animal now. Well, I thought we agreed earlier that it wasn't a sin.
we define sin as suffering, causing suffering.
Is that what sin is? Sin is turning away from God.
Of the Bible,
whatever God has prescribed, whatever God is, that perfect ideal image of God that we're supposed to achieve.
Be vegan, though, so why err on the side of not caution by living a more compassionate life, which is what the Bible teaches, to be compassionate. Like, I don't this cop out that, since sin is allowed, I'm just gonna live in sin. That doesn't make any sense.
Jesus, the perfect being,
I'm not gonna try and lead by example and not live in sin. Like, how is that the holier way of going about things to you?
I think I see why you have a disconnect with the value of animals. Like, do you believe that the biological evolution is a myth?
Yes, completely.
Okay, yeah, that's a big disagreement. Also, I think that's a misinterpretation of the Bible. Actually, you've got to reject everything from it.
Say, thou shalt not kill humans. He said, "Thou shalt not kill."
He said, "Thou shalt not murder." If you look at the term correctly, murder is a big difference in killing.
Then? What is it then?
What's that?
Is it not murder?
The word is murder, not kill. It can be mistranslated as kill if you want to.
So your body belongs to you.
You get a mistranslation, but
my body belongs to God.
Oh, I get it.
Your body belongs to God. Okay.
Killing and murder, it has nothing to do with the species. It has to do with whether it was in self-defense or not.
Yes, and I'm in defense of my life every day against.
Whose body is the cows? Whose body is the cows?
You are in defense of your life
every day, trying to eat
trying to
food.
kill you.
And maybe vegetables aren't getting it for me. And so I have to go, and I got to go to the grocery store
Show
and get
us
some meat.
show us your blood work, Steve.
My
show
blood
us
work.
all the blood
You
work
really want to
had
see my
done
blood
while
work?
you
I
were
could
on
show
that
you my blood
diet
work,
of the plant-based
but
diet.
that's irrelevant.
Show me
I'm
your
not
blood
a
work,
freaking
your
guy
blood
that
work.
works out, and I drink alcohol like a freaking person that likes to drink. And so as a result, those two factors mean I got a little bit of a chin because I drink beer, and I don't work out as I should. But if I did, you wouldn't be able to use my appearance against me. So that's an irrelevant argument.
Look, dude, I don't know about everyone else, but I really just came on here to convince you to consider being a vegan. I'm not here to fight you. I just want you to reconsider. Yes, there's sin in the world. I think we can all agree on that. What I don't agree on is that we should continue just because it's in the world. I think we already established that sin is defined as causing suffering, right, to others, and we also defined what others are. To you're saying that it's only others only refers to other humans. But if we look at how we define humanity as having a consciousness, having done good works, a baby has never done good works. A baby doesn't have consciousness in terms of understanding eternity and God and all these higher concepts. And so the line that we create between us and animals it's a very thin one. And the way that you can navigate that line is in your heart through care. If you hear the squeal of a baby and the squeal of a pig as being the same in your heart, if you close your eyes and you hear that squeal and you know it's the same in your heart, you should change your behavior, right? And that's why I came on here. I wasn't here to fight you. I want to convince you to just consider being a vegan again, and we will support you. We will help you. We can meal plan together. We can, and we can turn this around. If we can convince you, that would be amazing. And then you could tell other people in the Christian community about how good you feel, the energy you feel. I actually have more energy now that I'm vegan than I ever was as a vegetarian. I'm not even trying to lose weight. I'm healthy. Like, it's good. It's healthy.
If you truly understand the concept of Jesus, you'll understand not to reject your conscience.
Okay, well, my conscience is not telling
makes you
me
feel bad
that
when
there
you
is
sin.
anything wrong because we have a disagreement on what sin is.
So if I play a squeal, and it sounds either like a baby or a pig, and I didn't tell you which squeal it was. It could be a squeal of a baby being hurt, or it could be of a pig about to be slaughtered. If I just played that squeal for you,
that wouldn't change anything.
No, because he thinks
a
it's
pig being
his.
slaughtered doesn't actually
He
affect
thinks you
a baby
think
being slaughtered.
it belongs to you. You think it belongs to you. That's the whole thing. It's
we have
stealing,
a disagreement
man.
on sin
You're
for
stealing.
one. Oh, we're stealing.
Yeah.
It's
It's
stealing.
not your
Okay.
life to take. It's not your life to take.
No, it's God's life to give us. It's God's life to give us, which is
God
why
is
he
not
gave it after
giving
the
you
flood.
that life. You're taking it from that animal. God is not giving you that life.
Yes, he is.
And it's
Yes, he
nowhere
is. He gave it in
written.
the Old
And it's
Testament
nowhere
with Noah.
written that. And it's nowhere written that He's giving you flesh to eat.
Yes, he
It's
allows
nowhere
it.
written.
Yeah, okay, let's
He
look
does
it up.
not allow it. And he's not a he. It's all of creation. It's all of the divinity of creation tells you that it's wrong when you're fucking doing it, asshole.
Oh, I'm an asshole? That's a great way to continue the conversation.
So
okay, Genesis 9, 3-6.
Yeah, you got to change the subject because you can't deal with the actual truth of the matter, the sin, the
There is no sin,
wrongdoing,
my friend,
the
and that's what you guys aren't getting.
wrongdoing.
Everything that
Steve,
moves, everything that is alive is yours for food.
Steve, if you
Earlier,
killed an
I gave you
animal,
the
do you
green
think
plants,
that
but now I
that
give you
animal
everything
would
for
think
food.
that you're
But you must not
a
eat meat
nice
that still has the
person?
blood in it because blood gives life.
Like let's get down to basics. Do you think that animal would look at you as a devil for killing it? in that last fleeting second that it's alive, looking at you kill it, do you think that it thinks that you're a good, holy man?
I don't care what the animal thinks.
Yeah,
You're a
that's really
Darwinist.
scary, bro.
You're
That's
a
really
speciesist
scary.
Darwinist
That's narcissist
Satanist.
shit.
You're
Like,
Why would
you
I
believe
care
you're
what the cat
over.
thinks of me?
You should also check in on why you're
sitting there
drinking so
eating
much.
my
It
meal
might be
and
because you have a
he's
guilty
yelling at me
conscience.
for something, I'm going to
Vegans
continue eating
over
my
here,
meal.
I don't think we're alcoholics.
That great.
I don't know any
Congratulations,
vegan
you're not an
alcoholics. That's
alcoholic.
weird.
You won. You won a debate there.
That's one of the many
Why are you
tenets of
drinking?
Satanism.
You might be drinking because of your karmic inventory being
But
overflowed.
the main
Maybe I
You're
enjoy
fighting.
alcohol.
interpreting the
This
Bible
is the thing,
literally.
You've never enjoyed
Steve,
alcohol.
you're fighting us. You're fighting us.
God.
It's not like you're like, oh, live and let live. The vegans can do their thing. You're fighting against us and lying about us. So
Hey, let's stop fighting. Let's think logically. Like if you take the Bible literally and you're consistent about it, like how do you explain like God asks to sacrifice animals and burn them just to appease him, or God? I think God asked Abraham or someone from the Bible to sacrifice his own son. Maybe he changed his mind, but
No, he never changed his mind. That's actually a good one we can bring up, and that shows the value of life. Is Abraham's sacrifice of Isaac? But that's sort of off topic.
It could be food.
What was on topic was Genesis 9:3-6, and that was God giving us in the Bible. He says, everything that moves, everything that is alive is yours for food. Earlier, I gave you the green plants, but now I give you everything for food. And that was God after the flood.
why would he want someone to sacrifice not for food? Like there's sacrifices in the Old Testament.
Yes, and it has to do with sin, atonement for sin. There is no atonement for sin in Hebrews. This is what it says in Hebrews. There is no atonement for sin without the shedding of blood. And Jesus is the example. He died. He shed his blood. He never had to. He was completely innocent. And he shed his blood so he could help us to have eternal life in him.
Instead of living in the... Instead
that makes no sense. For doing like wrongdoing, that's the sin. Like how do you atone for that? By doing more wrongdoing and killing another innocent animal, or by nailing Jesus?
Jesus willingly went to the cross, and so he can remove sin. He can forgive it. That's why we have to confess our sins to Jesus. When we lie, when we commit adultery, when we do these things that are wrong, we go to Jesus.
Jesus gets crucified, those things still happened. Even if you sacrifice animals, the bad things still happen. How does that undo any of the sin or make it okay? It's
God
still
works
tragic
together.
that the bad things happen, and the bad things happen are truth for eternity. You can't undo them by killing something else. Like how does that make sense?
It makes sense in the fact that there was a sin in the garden, which is going to deprive us of our true image and eternal life. All right? Something happened in the garden that would deprive us of eternal life.
Yeah,
and it was a lie.
They started wanting
we believed a lie.
I have a question though. So, all right. So my question is other than you researching everything that Jesus did as far as how he ate, have you ever fasted? Like, did you ever fast longer than 7 days?
I fasted probably the most I've fasted without eating anything. It's probably like 4 days.
4 days? Okay.
Yeah, 4 days. I'm not Jesus. I'm not going to go with the full 40.
Right. And have you ever like went to a food shelf and tried to feed thousands of people?
Nope.
I guess that's really my only questions.
Yeah, I can do other things. I mean, and I don't got to boast about them, but you want to know what I do good? I give, people money when they need it, if they're hungry, if they need different things, I help people directly.
Had nothing to do with it. Had nothing to do with that. Had nothing to do with that. It had to do with, I mean, if you're researching what Jesus does, you're like, well, Jesus says it's cool. Jesus also says it's cool to fast. Jesus also says it's cool to help thousands of people who are unable to help themselves. There's a lot of things that Jesus said to do that it seems like the only thing you kind of stuck to there was, well, I could eat this way because Jesus said so. And I don't agree there. I mean, obviously we can go back and forth on that, but I guess my big old question is why is that the only thing you are doing that Jesus said? I mean,
That's not the only thing I'm doing that Jesus says. You know nothing of my life. You have zero
I know
insight
everything.
into
Oh, I know
who
everything. I know
and the
everything.
good
Buddy,
that
look
I do.
look right behind you. Look right
Does he tell
behind
you
you,
to
bud.
be
That
an
camera,
alcoholic
I've been
and
watching your
harass
whole life.
people that are just trying to do less
Good.
harm in the world?
If the Bible is perfectly literally correct, why does it say not to beat your slaves instead of saying not to own slaves at all?
Because you shouldn't beat your slaves, bro. That's not nice.
Well, maybe there's a message about sin and slavery too, and God's trying to teach messages about that. And the context of the times did not allow for a humane way to free the slaves, because people were still going to be sold into slavery. They were going to go into debt with people, and slaves were going to be made.
If
That's
it's an
just, it
eternal
was a
book,
fact
how
of
can
life.
it
And evil,
be
sin was in the
limited
world,
to
and slave
the context of
makers
the
are there.
times?
Slaves still exist today, by the way. And the only reason slavery is not throughout the entire world is because of Christian ethics. That's
But
a fact.
the truth about slavery is wrong. If
Not
the
true.
Yes.
Bible
And
is
slavery got
literal and
abolished in
accurate,
the
it should
West
say that
because
truth
of
as well.
Christianity.
Stop slavery? Is that what he just said?
I believe slavery
I'm
was
sorry,
justified through Christianity. Christians at the time used Bible verses to justify over slavery, and it's actually Christian. Well, I didn't want to originally go here, but I guess we're going here. What are your thoughts
What we
on
do here.
things like the Council of Nicaea and just this, the very clear intervention that was done in writing the Bible itself, taking away specific books, keeping others, rewriting and adding things, taking things out? Like, how do you reconcile that history with your faith?
Okay, that's an easy one. The books were examined because they were close in time. Just like first the Old Testament, you have that formed in the Septuagint, right? And they were much closer in time to those Old Testament scriptures. And so they canonized, in a sense, the Old Testament. Jesus quotes the Septuagint. Now, then you go forward into the New Testament era when Christ has come and, all that, and you have the New Testament scriptures. And there was a bunch of fake stuff going around and a bunch of real stuff. And so they had to cipher through what was real and what was fake at the time. And so because they were much closer in time to us, they looked at who quoted who, which church fathers, who was the follower, say, of Peter. Was it Polycarp? Who all these things matter when it comes to determining the authenticity of a work. And so that's one of the great things. We can trust the Bible, because if we look, say, for example, at the Dead Sea Scrolls and how faithful our current translation is to those Dead Sea Scrolls, we're off by 7 characters out of thousands upon thousands of characters, and not a single one of those characters that changes the meaning of anything. They're punctuation at best.
So in general, when it comes to translation, you can never get a perfect translation from one language to another, right? Because there's different grammar, there's different word meanings, multiple meanings. Mistranslations can always occur. And the fact that you have so many hands involved in multiple language and translations on top, is it possible that which is in the Bible may not be the accurate message that God intended for man to hear?
Well, the message is in the Bible, and that's where you need the Holy Spirit to understand what that message is. And yes, it involves going into words, it involves going into the text and examining what the Greek actually says, what the Hebrew actually says, and understanding the original root language, if you care about these things. I research the root words all the time.
If you look at the original Hebrew, where it says in Genesis that God that humans will have dominion over the animals, if you look at the actual Hebrew for dominion, it actually means going down under. So we are actually submitting ourselves to the same level as animals. If you look at the original Hebrew.
Well, dominion is something where you're serving them in some way, but they also serve you. So in dominion, you are providing something for the animals. Maybe it's food, maybe it's grazing pasture, maybe it's some, company. Maybe they're sheep and they really like the company of humans. You know, maybe they're cats and they just want to eat your food because it smells good. You know, there's a lot of reasons.
The point that I'm trying to make is I agree with you. I think one needs to use discernment, as you say, the Holy Spirit, your heart, care, intuition. There are many sort of synonyms to really figure out what's real, what the true message is from God, and what is dross, what is noise, what is potentially immoral.
Hey,
right?
Justin, if someone were to suggest you might be interpreting some parts of the Bible wrong, but there's another, there's a documentary that could really explain to you like a different point of view that once you recognize, you'll think it's more accurate than the one you have. Would you be open-minded to looking at this documentary?
Documentaries are pretty long. I mean, I can watch it, sure, if you share the link.
Like, it's such a captivating speaker. You'll
done
probably
learning
watch 5
stuff?
minutes of it and be addicted to watching the
I
rest.
can't learn. I don't know if I can learn.
I don't want to learn anymore. I refuse to
it's
learn
not about
anything,
that. It's
especially
about
from
the
people that are
commitment of time that I have
criticizing
to
me.
make. And I already have a lot of stuff on my plate. I'm already doing this. So thank you guys for having me here. But yeah, I think it's a matter of time. And do I have the time to honestly watch it? You send it to me. I'll look at it. And if I find it entertaining enough, I'll continue to watch it. If I find there to be a lot of flaws in the person's reasoning, I will typically quit watching.
Hey, Jeffrey
Mark
Phillips, I
Passio?
want to give you some constructive criticism about your destructive criticism of Mark Passio. Like, he's done a lot for animal freedom and human freedom. And
you might have seen some video of mine from the past when I didn't really understand Mark, but I don't really destruct. If you see any of the last 3 months,
I'm a new subscriber of yours. I saw your last.
I've learned. Huh?
I'm a new subscriber of yours. I've only seen like the things you've done in the last few days.
Yeah. So you saw at my last show, actually, Steve here was in Mark's studio. You know, like we're all friends. I don't criticize Mark outside of, I used to criticize him because he wasn't harder on the carnists, but I understand now why he is hard on why he's not. Because he just, you know, I understand now. I've learned more about him and his network and the people on it, and you know, I'm surrounded by people on his network. I'm not. I haven't been criticizing him that much. I might throw something in there, but it's not criticizing Mark as a whole or anything that he teaches. It just might be one tiny aspect that I don't agree with him on. Like I don't agree that going vegan overnight is harmful.
Careful not to like scare people away who might be newly getting interested into the great work. Like that's good. Like
I'm getting tons of people into the great work, bro. Trust me.
Okay.
Like
I don't want to judge you prematurely. I haven't seen a whole lot of your content yet.
Tons and tons of people on the regular, like people, you know, like I'm definitely. While my tactics seem a bit abrasive, I don't think I'm scaring anyone away. People love abrasive drama and stuff like that, and people love seeing the truth being spoke. So, you know, this whole we need to be nice to everyone and talk nicely. I don't know where everyone's learning this shit. Like,
no, we don't have to be nice. It seems like you're like clowning on him, and it might like make people think like, oh, that guy's stupid. I don't want to watch.
What specifically? What specifically did I say that was clowning on him?
Actually, it was more of like some people who were like taking
truth comes out. It's
like
not
like
what I'm saying about Mark.
Will Keller and Logan Hart. Like it looked like
those are different people. Those are different people.
Yeah,
that's not Mark.
Those are different people.
But
that's
a really good example of something that is a problem going on with the people around Mark Passio. They seem to think that Logan Hart, and I'm sorry, Steve, but I got to get this out real quick since I'm being put on the spot. Everyone seems to think that Will Keller and Logan Hart are Mark Passio. And so any attack on Will Keller and Logan Hart is an attack on Mark. And you just gave me the perfect example of something that I've been trying to explain to everybody, especially the people around
I don't
One
think
Great
they are
Word.
Mark Passio, but
in a way, you literally walked into it, though. You just showed us how you were talking, you were straw manning me. You were saying, I'm attacking you.
I'm not trying to straw man you, but like, I want to show you what I mean. I want to be transparent, and like, I don't think that they are Mark Passio, but I do think an attack on them is an attack on Mark Passio because they're on his side. They're trying
Jeffrey,
to.
Can you hang out a little bit? Can you hang out a little bit? Can we talk about this in like 20 minutes once we're done with Steve? I don't want to make him sit through this boring shit.
I'm sorry. I don't want to go off on another tangent.
He's not a part of the whole Mark thing.
I don't want to interfere with this vegan debate. That's what this is all about. Yeah.
I want to go back to.
I really would love to talk about this later.
Okay.
I want to go back to this idea, right, that we need to use the Holy Spirit to interpret the true message that God is giving to humans in the Bible, and that there may be, because there are so many people involved in the making of that text, and because there's so many languages involved in the translations, etc., that, like you said, you need to use our discernment to decide what is the truth and not. And again, I bring us to our heart. I bring us to care. If an animal that you're wanting to eat, you're slaughtering it, you're hearing it suffer, you're hearing it scream, you're seeing it run away, I really hope that, this isn't about being right and wrong on this debate. This is public. But like after this, in your heart, I ask you to just really just introspect and just see that it's wrong. It's wrong. You know it's wrong in your heart. And once you know it's wrong, you can act and make different changes and try veganism again. I hope.
Well, I haven't heard anything to convince me that Jesus didn't eat fish or didn't eat lamb. I haven't heard a convincing argument.
It's about your heart. It's about like.
Oh no, it is about my heart, and my heart tells me there's nothing wrong with eating meat.
So when you see an animal suffer right before
cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure,
you feel nothing when you see an animal being slaughtered. Why don't we slaughter our dogs? Our pet dogs. Why don't we slaughter our babies? I mean, what's the difference between a baby and a signing gorilla, right? Like at some point you have to have care, like really have it. Like my child, for example, went to a preschool farm visit, and I asked him how it went, and he was like, yeah, I saw this goat, I milked this cow, and I'm like, honey, all those animals are going to get killed and eaten later. And he just started crying. And he's closer to source. He's closer to the feeling of care in his heart. As we become adults in this hardened, sinful world, we forget that care that we're born with. And I hope you can just reach back to before you read anything, before you witness sin. Just go back to that moment in your heart, in your childhood, where you just are more in touch with your care, and then look at yourself in the mirror and say, it's okay for me to eat these animals that are screaming for life.
Yeah, well, I remember when I was a child, I never really had problems eating meat. Never even thought about it. And then as I got older, I learned.
Hold on. Did you kill animals to get that meat, though?
Yes. No, I haven't.
Yeah. So what does that statement have to do with anything then?
It's through supply and demand.
Hold on.
About what meat is.
Killing
when I
animals,
became aware
you incur mental health
eating.
problems when you kill things. There's a thing called perpetrator-induced traumatic syndrome. This is a real thing that science has been able to look at for decades. When you kill an animal, it hurts you mentally. So when that's something that we're supposed to take as a signal for, we should only do this if our life depends on it, if it's really worth it, right? Like, since we're getting a little bit of trauma every time we kill an animal, we probably shouldn't do it all the time. But no, us cowards that live in these cities, we pay people to induce all that trauma on themselves. the deaths of millions of animals on themselves, and these people go crazy. And when they put factory farms in a city, all the crime goes up, domestic violence goes up, SAs go up, suicide, people doing this stuff goes up, murders, all kinds of stuff goes up. This is the material. This is the evidence we have that there's power out there that we don't have control of, because this happens no matter what we do. So when you say, "Oh, I had no problem eating meat when I was a baby, when I had no choice about what I could eat," is really like a low. Like, I don't know why you would even say that in a debate. Like, that's not
because
actually
she
like.
brought up
I've got
something
a question
related
for
to
you,
it.
Justin. Do you acknowledge or do you deny that when you're buying,
so don't insult our intelligence?
when you're buying animal products, you're contributing to the killing of animals?
Yes.
And you're contributing to the mental health degradation of society. That's
Well, I would agree with
none of the
that. I'd have
carnists
to
like
see the
talking about
studies
that
and see if
part.
they were actually
Like,
decent.
I don't care about eating meat because I don't care about animals. Well, guess what? There's a huge amount of human harm that is produced through
Can
the
you prove
animal.
that? You should share
No,
that
well,
information.
look, bro,
That's good information.
Steve, even if you did see those studies and you had them
You're
right in
ignorant
front of
because
you, you would
it's not
still.
true because you're ignorant of that information.
Yes, I'm ignorant of that information. Yeah, I didn't know that crime
Why
and
are you in a
murder
debate
and all
with
that
me?
went up whenever they installed a
Why are you
factory
trying to
farm.
tell us that we don't know what we're talking about? Why are you always fighting people that are smarter than you? Why are you
Just
always
because I don't know everything
come into
doesn't
my face
have
and
anything to do with
lying to
intellect
everybody
or
about
intelligence. I'm literally genuinely asking you for a source for your study. All right, that's all I'm doing.
But
That's all I'm
look,
doing.
even if you had,
because I don't know
had
everything.
those studies right in front of you, you know, you would just go. You know, you would just go. Oh,
you're actually going to read them.
No, I would look at the study and I would find out what their basis for it was.
They just
because
Right.
I bet they're
No,
that just seems
you
weird
would
to me.
say, "Oh
Seems
well, fuck this study. I'm washed in the blood of the Lamb, bro." That's what you'd say, and that's what you have been saying. Because
He
you
has been
think you
saying that
have
the
the
whole
right.
time.
You think you have the right, but you don't, because the
you don't even
animal does
need a
not belong to
study.
you. It's not your property.
You could do a thought experiment. Look at the footage.
It's about morality.
Look at the footage that goes on with the slaughtering of animals and how brutal it is. And be honest with yourself. If someone has to do that 8 hours a day, every day, like how could it not traumatize them? And like, if people are traumatized, their mental health goes down, and the crime rate, like their likelihood of contributing to the crime rate goes up. Without knowing the source of a study, like without even a study being done, like you can just use your powers of deduction to know that is logically going to be the result. So, like, why are you asking like the source of the study? Are you trying to?
No, I was in the middle of reading it, and it wasn't. It's actually not a study that I have found yet. I got to search through this to find
I have
the
it
study.
here. The criminology professor Amy Fitzgerald from the University of Windsor crunched the numbers from the FBI Uniform Crime.
Yeah, I'm looking for the study though.
I posted it in the private chat here on StreamYard for us. 581 U.S. counties from 1994 to 2002. I have a graph that shows that as the number of slaughterhouse workers in a community increases, the crime rate also increases. And this makes sense, right? For those of us that understand the law of freedom, as immorality increases, so does slavery. Whereas if we turn it around, pardon?
What was that?
The law.
Okay, so my thought on this whole thing, just without looking at the source directly, my whole thought is that if the number of workers increase, is there no other correlation? The number of workers increasing, that means that population increased. If they had to install a factory, that means population increased. So is that study done based on population? Does it account for that? You know, those are factors that you have to consider.
Something that you don't understand. You should probably look at the studies before arguing for them.
I'm supposed to know every study out there. Yes. Okay. You know? I see your point. I can't research everything, my friend. I'm here just to talk about what the Bible says. That was it. That
Everything
was
has
my
a
main point.
convenient little loophole just for you, bro.
Hypothetically, what if there was no animal industry and the food industry was focused on making like real delicious, vegan food available, and you had like all the good like vegetable food like to sustain yourself, but there's there's some like wild lamb in your or cow or something in your backyard. I know it's not likely; it's very hypothetical, but like this is a free animal, like just eating grass, enjoying life and everything. Like if you had the choice to like let it keep on living and experiencing life and eat the delicious food you have, or you had a choice of killing that and eating some steak because you want steak, like. Would you want to do that yourself?
Attacking it with
It would depend. It would depend on the situation. But I mean, think about it. Like right now, if that happened, hypothetically, I would probably, to save money, I'd kill that thing, and I would be able to live longer and better, more free, because I now don't have to worry about feeding myself for a year.
Taking freedom for your own.
So you think it does give you some advantage, and the animal's life is worth that advantage?
No, my life is worth more than the animals. It doesn't mean I disregard the animal's life. It just means that I value mine more.
It's not a question of life and death for you in this hypothetical scenario.
Do you value your own life more than my life?
No, I wouldn't say that. I say we're both equal. But if it came down to it and you attacked me, I would value my life more.
No. Say there was like a switch, and you could switch between yourself and me, or we both go down like some kind of ravine. Which one would you take?
If I went down a ravine with you, it depends. I mean, I'm not in that situation. I could be a purple heart.
Would you pick yourself, or would you pick me? What would you choose?
Say that again. You both die. So you have three choices: yourself die, he dies, or you both die.
Okay. And in that scenario, barring the fact that I barely know him, I mean, I don't know how I'd react, honestly, because that's a hard one. You know, there's people that are called purple hearts out there, and when they're faced with that exact scenario, they choose to offer their life for their comrades.
You would just give your life for me, right? You would just give your life for me.
Why would a purple heart give his life for people that he doesn't know? Really, they're just people he met in his unit.
Those guys are just doing that for a paycheck, bro. Trust me.
Yeah, the purple hearts. Yeah, that's why they die.
Of the world,
yeah, that's why the satanic symbol on it. That's why the actual purple heart symbol of it is satanic. The symbol.
Well, it's
of
because
a purple heart.
they risk their life for other people. That was the point of it. They risk their own life, and maybe even die.
Like
you know how many purple hearts
they
die?
risked their life for a paycheck because they were too big of losers to figure out a real job.
Well, either way, it's something that happens. So regardless to what the point he was trying to make is, I don't know what I would do in that situation because I haven't been there.
Kill people for a fucking paycheck. Even
yeah, of course he would condone that. Of course he would use that example because that's what domination and abuse and violence is. You got to accept it from all ends, right?
Steve,
well, I think war is a real thing, and that if there wasn't force in the world, some warlord would probably show up on the scene real quick and take over and cause a whole lot of hell for everybody.
We are not ready.
But for some reason,
society because people still think that they can kill sentient beings. Leo told
for some reason,
why don't you lead into the guy? As long as there's wars overseas, we're gonna have as long as there are factory farms, we'll always have wars. Like these are things people have been saying and known, philosophers for thousands of years. But you're smarter than them because
Cain killed Abel
together that were carnage. Like let's say it as it is. When I was researching the whole veganism thing in the Bible, I was shocked by the lack of evidence of him eating meat or flesh or whatever. I was completely blown away by that. So let's put in the translation problem. So like if there was a translation problem and Jesus was eating meat there'd still be a bunch of evidence of him eating meat, even if there was translation problems. But there's none, dude. Your argument is terrible. You're in the.
I think
you're
that's a terrible
losing
argument. You said there's none. I've given multiple
no
examples.
evidence except this fish thing that you guys hold on to.
No, not fish. Also the
Makes you a
Passover meal.
vegetarian temporarily, and then goes back to vegan because there's no other evidence of him eating meat. There's evidence. He said he literally someone offered him lamb, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to sit there and eat that with you," and walked away. Like, and then you're like,
where does that in scripture?
In line with all the rules with Passover, yet he let his he snuck out and didn't go home with his parents. So he obviously was kind of, not going by the rules. So for you to hold him to some strict rules and then assume he ate the lamb just because he went to a Passover party, like there's no other evidence. Show me the mountains of evidence that he eats meat. You can't make it. You can't make it, but we can make mountains of evidence for him being vegetarian. That's for sure. Like I'm going to send you some stuff, and I really hope you watch it. I highly doubt you do because you guys never do. But you have to, dude, and if you're going to put yourself on the internet as a representative of something, you have to research the other person's side too, open-mindedly, or you're just handing yourself to the wolves. Like, you can't come here. We're all literally experts on veganism and health. Like, and you're coming here as an alcoholic, blabbering at us, justifying your immoral diet and saying that you're more in line with whole compassion and all these things that the Bible's supposed to teach than we are. And it just doesn't make any sense. That's why we're like I'm so baffled that you would agree to this premise that it's unbiblical, because it's so obviously not unbiblical. And,
I have shown you in multiple places, and you just disregard them. So what's the point of even continuing this, my friend? You don't take any of the verses that I've given you, like Genesis 9:3. And then also Jesus, you know what he did? He did 2 miracles where he served fish. He took fish and he served it to thousands of people. You think he would have done that if he just was like, "Hey, don't eat fish, don't eat meat"? But you guys can eat this one time. Just one time.
The fish thing is a very big up for debate mistranslation, and it has been since before we were all born, bro. So don't act like that mistranslation isn't a mistranslation.
The vast majority of translations do not agree with the vegan translation.
Mistranslations.
And
the vast majority of translations do not agree with the vegan translation. I've never read the vegan translation, but I can tell you
all of that's being done by
they're not going to agree,
bro. They're not going to side with the vegan argument if they're not vegan themselves. That's why I'm saying,
why don't you translate your own Bible? Create a vegan Bible.
If this was flipped on the inverse, we'd have tons of there would still be several occasions in the Bible where it says, "Oh yeah, fucking Jesus was chowing down on some freaking lamb bone barbecue. He was stoked. Everyone was prosperous." But there's
where did it show him eating vegetables?
There's none of that, dude.
Where does it show him eating vegetables?
One fish, because could have been fish weed, whatever. And then what? I'm sure you're gonna say, dude was eating what was it? Paul ate only bread and they were thinking it was grasshoppers, but it's really what's the word? You guys know what I'm talking about. Oh,
I don't.
My brain's fried. I can't remember that word, but whatever the word was for
manna.
What's that?
Oh yeah, manna.
No, manna was like algae, obviously. Water falling down on the ground and algae growing up.
Where in the Bible, Jeffrey? Where in the Bible does it show Jesus eating anything, including vegetables?
Well, I know Jesus was I know the original Garden of Eden was vegan. So the bad part of the whole story is in the middle. So, and I see you siding with the baddest of the bad part, which doesn't make any sense.
I'm acknowledging reality.
You would be erring on the side of caution, and you would be at least okay with vegans talking about veganism in your friend circle that you're in, but you viciously go after vegans. And so that's why you're here. We don't understand when we're looking at the Bible and we're like, holy shit, where's all the evidence of the meat eating? And there's none. but in a time when everybody was doing wrong. So instead of, and then you're during this time, you're being judged by God. So he's watching what you're doing. So if you're just going to go fuck off and do whatever you want, which is satanic, if you live a life where you are absolutely, oh, I don't care about anybody but me and me and my family, and I don't care how many animals we kill or anything like that, that's satanic, bro. It has nothing to do with Satan or worshiping the devil. It's a satanic behavior. You got to look at the other word of it. We've been programmed to think Satanism is devil worshippers, black metal bands and stuff like that, death metal, you know, but really it's 90% of the population, and it's it's definitely the most hypocritical group. You know, people like you who just don't get it that we're being tested. If you claim to agree with the Bible that this is a test period before we're allowed somewhere or somewhere else, and you're just going to do whatever you want the whole time and kill as many sentient beings that have feelings that God created to have feelings. Why would God created plants without feelings so we can eat them? He created animals with feelings so we have an emotional reaction to killing them if we have to. Like, I get it, we could survive, people have been healthy for years with meat, but guess what, there's more to it than just the health aspect. If you're looking at morals, I think you are in the moral lower zone here. I don't know how much more we're going to go. We got 10 more minutes left. Go ahead if you want to keep going, Steve and Jerry and Slob. Oh, there's two Steves.
Anyways, I think, well, how do I address that? I would just say veganism, since we have 10 minutes left, is something that I will look at these links. I'll look at the slaughterhouse one, but I think that, honestly, looking at it, it's probably a population increase, and then they aren't correlating that. Maybe they did it in small towns, but I think just a population increase could account for raising crime.
Why are you so quick to jump to that inference?
Why are you quick to jump to the inference that the article says? That's just not doing science. You question the hypothesis, and then you go and you examine it, and you say, are there other reasons for why this might be the outcome?
Yeah, but why that particular inference? You don't have to get so emotional. I'm just wondering why you want to jump to that particular conclusion.
You might want to just
I never said I jumped to it. I said there's probability, and I have to look at the study more. I haven't had a chance to look at the actual study to see how well it was done. I'm just saying that could very well be a possibility, and you guys can't say otherwise.
Jeff,
maybe you guys
weren't
can.
audible.
I don't know.
You repeat? Hold on a second. Jeff was talking, and we couldn't hear what he was saying.
I'm just trolling. I was just asking Steve to count to 10 and take a couple breaths, because I don't want him to have like a heart attack on my podcast, because then I might get sick or something.
Yeah. Well, anyways, you guys have been very generous and charitable.
Yeah, well, the debate's obviously
clearly. And I don't think we're going to agree on this podcast
for
about
hanging
anything.
Out for 2 hours this time, though.
Yeah, that's because it was earlier in the day. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I do hope you consider revisiting veganism just for yourself on a health level, on a moral level, on a spiritual level, and that once you see those benefits, that you share it with the Christian communities that you're a part of. I didn't come here to fight you. I wanted to convince you to reconsider. I'm so glad to hear that you have tried it before, and I encourage you to try it again.
Okay. I'm not saying I will, but who knows what the future holds.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, dude.
All right.
See you on Fake Book.
Yeah, it's pretty fake on there, so enjoy it.
We appreciate you coming up and actually coming up here, though. 99.
Yeah, this was actually sort of fun, despite all the gang up against one guy. That's what it feels like. It feels like 5 against 1 here, but no, it's all right. I enjoyed it. Actually, this was sort of fun.
I love continuing debate. So if you want to come up again, you got some new stuff. You got a new
Yeah,
argument?
maybe, sure.
Absolutely
I don't mind doing
again.
this again.
Whenever
We'll
you want.
have to talk about that later, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring a whole army, bro. We'll take on everybody.
Yeah,
Well-
you could totally gang up. And I'll even debate all of you guys, just me. And any of us, anyone that comes on our show can destroy any carnist at any argument about morality.
So you can do mano a mano.
Anyone
You can just do
on
one
my
person
show.
against me.
So whenever you want, bro.
All right. Well, maybe we'll do that one day. That sounds fun.
Let's not view it as against, right? Like we're all trying, like we all want good to rule, right?
Yes.
Over humanity's
True.
consciousness, and it's not right now. And we think part of that piece of the puzzle is choosing a vegan diet. Whether you agree with that or not, we hope you consider that as a piece.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. And God bless you all.
Yeah.
Same to
May the
you.
gods bless you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That was pretty great.
So let me just go through them, please, if I may. Area code 216, you're live on the
You
air.
guys
Make
gotta-
it
you
to
guys
the point
gotta
and
check this
concise,
out. This
please.
is a little
Eddie.
Go ahead.
secret method.
Yeah, you know,
Or,
I'm listening to you with this. You know, we should not eat meat, and but to me, I think it is nature because don't.
Oh no, I just deleted it. Jesus. Hold on. It's just super relevant. Just give me a second. So wait,
No
Jeffrey. So first of all, Jeffrey, my name is Jeffrey. It's nice to meet you. I don't think we've met yet. I think I've seen you around these new circles I've been going through. So you think okay, what was your criticism, by the way?
Actually,
So
not
first-
anymore. Like,
I wanted to hear the criticism.
yeah, you explained yourself, and I believe you. Like, I thought your intention was to try to do damage to the one to
Oh, I'm trying to make
Mark-
everyone better in there.
And
What led you to think that way, Jeff?
I hear that from Mark Passio. What I've learned
No, I
from
didn't
Mark
hear-
Passio's teaching. Huh?
It's from watching parts of the last couple of live streams I saw you do. I was just an audience. I didn't join.
I don't think.
Whenever
Jeff, I think you're just getting too caught up in.
Live stream, they completely don't get what we're doing here. I would say at least watch 3 or 4 full episodes. You don't need to last. The last one was 9 hours. It was really good, but it's really long because I got
for 9.
It's a crazy episode, but most people do not get what I'm doing here by watching clips. So I get this reaction nonstop everywhere I go.
Well, yeah, here's a specific criticism. It's a constructive criticism. It differs from the way I was. Like the reason I think this is a constructive criticism of you, and maybe it's destructive of like the ones you're criticizing. I'm doing it on a live stream where you could like respond to it. It looked like some of the other people you're like talking bad about them, and not like when they're not there to respond.
What's that? Oh no, my podcast is an open podcast, and it's every month, every week. Anyone can come up on my show and talk to me. I've been begging these people to come up and talk to me for quite a while now. But they choose to block me. Therefore, I have to go through other means to get to them. So I have to go out wider and start talking to the public about it because I'm suspicious. And I'm not. And I'm seeing the mentality I explained earlier where people think because I'm attacking a specific person in the network, that I'm attacking the network or Mark. But what I'm seeing is Mark's students factioning off and talking shit about him and then making groups about him. And then not even talking about living the principles, talking about, oh, we all got to support each other no matter what, because we're all talking about natural law. And it's like, that's not the reality of the world we live in. We're supposed to hold our people accountable if they're not doing A, good work, any work, if they're not doing any work and they're just hanging out, nah, sorry, get the fuck out of my movement. You're wasting space. If they're doing work, but it's bad or negative, they need to be called out. And then they need to be called out if their work's just like garbage, like if it's just pointless and they're not actually progressing in their message. They're not able to come up with, they're not talking about shadow work. They're not talking about, like, they're not making statements that Mark hasn't made 1,000 times. Like, I know I say a lot of Mark stuff, but like, you know, it's like it's an echo chamber when you do a show every month with 8 guys. You're all repeating the stuff you heard from a guy. Nobody's actually living it in their life. Nobody's actually creatively applying this knowledge we have to a new form of media that's actually going to like spread on the mass level. Like the other day, there's a channel called Old Wolf Florida, right? There's all these huge YouTubers. All of us could be hassling them, being like, hey, dude, you need to have Mark Passio on. No one's doing anything for Mark. They just took half, they listened to half, maybe a quarter of what he says. They delete the stuff they don't like about carnism and you know, the veganism being the moral extension of natural law and all that stuff, and Mount Stupid. Like the vegans remind the non-vegans that they're still on Mount Stupid. So we're going to get shit no matter what. No matter where I go, whether I'm nice or mean, I act the same way towards me. So I don't understand where we're just this whole, oh, we need to protect Will Keller and Logan Hart while they do a high ticket affiliate marketing scam on all of Mark's students. Like, so I can't say that out loud. That's mean of me, because that's me attacking Mark when I'm making content that's like questioning what's going, these sketchy practices that are happening within the movement. I'm attacking Mark when I'm really trying to like cover his ass so these scammers don't run his name through the mud.
Maybe there's some things I don't know. I don't know what sketchy practices like Will Keller does. I just
they're selling some $6,000. They're doing a total pyramid scheme, affiliate marketing scheme to sell some bunk shit it's snake oil. They're selling snake oil in Mark's name, and everyone's just like, "Oh, this is great." These guys didn't even buy the device themselves. Logan Hart can't even put a shirt on for the presentation they make, and this is all in Mark's name, bro. Like, that doesn't bother you guys?
And Jeffries,
Okay,
and I get it. Like, I've done all the research. Like, people like you, they come up here and they've only done a little bit of the research, and they start accusing things and trying to give me constructive criticism when they haven't done all the research. I've done all the research. I've watched Logan and Will's presentation and compared it to other known scam presentations that are very similar, and seen a very, very close resemblance, except for some reason Will and Logan are selling a Chinese product that they don't even own, when these people that are doing the scams even are at least selling a good product that has like a lot of hype and like from a good company. Like, it's the craziest shit, and it's such a litmus test for what kind of people they are. They're in a sales position where they could be a great human and do a good job and have happy customers that actually get value from whatever they're sold, or they could be the scam and just sell some snake oil that, because they have a big following, they're able to sell some snake oil to a bunch of people and make fucking $3,000 a pop. You know, this isn't, they're making $20 a thing. They're selling a $300 item for $6,000. Like, and they're using doom and gloom tactics in their videos. They're like, oh, you can get cancer from water and cancer from vitamin C, and it's the same scam shit that's been happening for years with Kangen water. There's all these known scams. They're doing the same thing, and everyone's backing them up because they're Mark's guys. And no one can say anything bad, because Mark told us all to be nice to everyone and not criticize everyone and not badger people into doing better work. You guys
No,
all
I didn't say
oh,
that.
we gotta be nice to those guys. Those are Mark's buddies. So I'm gonna artificially respect these guys and completely let them screw. Like, dude, I've been watching people.
I'm not
scam
defending
people
the
in this
thing they're
movement
selling,
for 15
but I'm not
years.
attacking it either because I haven't seen it, and like you are absolutely
But
right
you're
that
here
I haven't done
criticizing.
the
You're
full
here
research.
giving me advice for how I'm dealing with Will and
So
Logan.
like,
You haven't
maybe I was wrong
researched
to
it.
maybe I was wrong to do it in the form of a constructive criticism. I should have done it more as a question, because like you have actually answered the question, and I take back
I'll beat it into the ground, bro.
Mr. Hammond.
I don't short answer questions like that.
Mr. Hammond. Also, and Jeffrey, I just got to keep saying it. You know, it's been far too long. Like, it's been years and fucking years, and these people are still in the same. They haven't changed the way they talk. They haven't changed at all. You could tell they're, and like, where have they gotten over all these years? I'm not trying to, beat them down, but like, dude, like, you got to make some change. You got to do some things. Maybe you're not based in certain principles.
They need to stop trying to make money off people in the liberty movement.
Yeah, because
like,
their principles aren't firm. They're not vegan.
Money on their own. Don't sell them some Chinese shit and say it's going to last for 30 years. Dude, you should hear the lies these guys, like, they're saying that this Chinese machine that they're buying for $300 and selling to people for $6,000 is going to last 30 years.
I haven't looked into it. I hope you're right. I like those guys so far, but like I don't know everything about them. I've seen a few of their videos.
Go watch Will's videos and tell me that he's doing great work. It's the most boring. I've never been able to learn anything from either of those guys. It's the most boring, just repeating of Mark's statements, but in no real order that flows. I can't learn anything from the guy. So it's just like
a lot of people
why everyone is just like
to Mark's work. They don't like the way he talks.
Yeah, and that's you gave me the example of earlier.
But Mark has passion. Mark cares about what he fucking talks about. These guys, you could smell on them that they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit what they're talking about.
I'm not criticizing Mark by saying not everyone's receptive to his teaching method, but that's like the whole point of him doing this, how to become the true media, and like encouraging more people to do it, because like hopefully like the people that aren't receptive to Mark's style of teaching for whatever reason would be receptive to Will Keller's or someone else. So it's good to have as many voices.
Not a real data delivery. It took me 10 years before I could sit through one of his lectures, because he's got a very 90s era, like presentation, and you're not going to teach the youth of the next generation with that type of material. So
are you talking about Will Keller or Mark Passio?
No, he's talking about Passio.
Passio, bro. Passio stuff is Will's is just unwatchable, but Mark's is, his style of doing things isn't for everyone. It wasn't for me forever until my, so we're supposed to come up with
I haven't found anyone who's really. I feel different about Mark's work. I thought his voice, like, is kind of like the way he explains things, really captured my interest. Like,
I'm not talking about how he explains things. I'm just talking about the presentation style is like very.
I've listened to all kinds of other people other than Mark trying to teach the same message. I honestly think they're all boring, including watching my own videos of myself. Like, I'm trying to get better and not like be an echo chamber, but like I mean, like
those dudes. These guys are creating echo chambers, and they're sitting in their.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point of becoming the true.
What did Mark say?
That's the whole point of becoming the true media. Is like how
not a
like, how can you get through? You got to have the psychology to get through to people, into their minds. Like, how are you going to do that when they can see that you don't give a shit? Like, how are you going to do that?
Yeah. And everybody calls me emotional.
I don't know about that. I wasn't calling you emotional.
I've been called emotional.
I thought that you were like trying to do harm to the great work. I believe you that you're not now. You explained yourself well.
Yeah. No, I've had who have I had? Nathan Riddett on the show. I've had Patty, like this is a one great work hangout show. Like this is the main thing, we do here, but we are very critical of bad work, and we are very belligerent. I guess I would say I'm a bit belligerent about this, and so yeah, no, I don't. I love Mark's work. There's just you don't agree with everything with anyone else. Like you're always going to have something you disagree with some people. But Mark's in a position that you have to kind of understand. He has a network and a business he's running, and he can't fight people for veganism all day long. And like he's someone who does that's a little offensive to me, but he's got a lot. He's doing other great work.
It's your niche is to like really like fight for veganism. No, I want to think about something you said about like criticizing bad work. Now, like there could be bad work bad work could mean different things. It could mean that it's like low quality. It's not doing much good, but it could also be like so quality that instead of doing any good at all, it's doing harm. Like if you think like work is actually doing more harm than good, is to like
another person. Another person.
Then I see a reason to attack it if you think it's actually doing more harm than good. But yeah, if it's ineffective, it needs to be constructively criticized, not like attacked and done damage to. And
like
I don't think he does.
You know Padini?
What?
Do you know Justin Padini?
No.
Oh, okay. He's on the One Great Work Network. He is absolutely a chaos, disinformation, distraction agent. He talks about mainstream. Justin has been begging me for the last 3 years relentlessly to cover the P scandal. And he begs to play video games with him online instead of do great work. He talks about P. Diddy, Tupac, all this video games, movies, all day long. And then he just like it's insane how bad this guy is. Yet he's on the network. And this guy actually, as long as I've known him for 10 years, has trash talked Mark Passio relentlessly.
Yeah, and he's pissed about that.
Network. So am I wrong for criticizing Justin Padini this last 3 years?
If someone's doing more harm than good, then it wouldn't be wrong to even attack them. Like attack their like try to stop their work if it's doing more harm than good. But if it's like or like criticize it, make them look bad. Like I'm not saying censor them or anything like that.
Public ostracization.
Yeah, if it's actually doing more harm than good.
We have in an anarchist society, that's all we have is our reputation and like what the public knows. Because with us sans government, we all vote with our dollars. That's how things get done without government. We vote by, who we spend our money on is who we vote for, to be in whatever we want, like. So public ostracization is like all we have. We're not going to go sue Will Keller because I think sue him because I think his work is mediocre, and I think
you're not going to convince me about Will Keller because I have to see for myself. But I'll look into what you're saying.
Yeah, but they're without a doubt. They have started a very, 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 very suspicious looking business venture that looks a lot like thousands of other scams that are very well known. And by their presentation, they don't give a fuck about it.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but my phone might die right now. I wonder, like, if it does, and I figure out my problem and come back, will you still be here talking for a while, or?
So yeah, probably not today, but Sunday. Come back Sunday.
Okay, yeah, I'll talk to you till it dies. Like,
and everyone else, hit the like button and subscribe. No one does that. But yeah, subscribe. I'm pretty loud about my shows when they come up. They're every Sunday though. Sunday evening, 5 Pacific.
hey, check out my work too. I wonder if you think it's an echo chamber. Like, I want to hear constructive criticism. I want to get better. Like, it's decentralizing mind control is my YouTube channel.
No, I'll check your shit out for sure.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming by, dude.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, I might as well just say bye because my phone's gonna die in a minute anyway, most likely. But yeah, like I like your style of how you like let people just come on the show and join. Like, so I'll see that since I'm subscribed, and I'll pop in like whatever I can. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, man. Peace.
Nice to meet you.
All right,
Bye.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Later on, Jeff.
Later.
Right. Oh boy, I've done a lot of yelling this last couple. I can't train myself not to yell into this mic. Like I get excited and my like I almost want to like downgrade this microphone to like a microphone that'll tone me down a little bit because it's a really nice mic, but I just can't talk like I gotta talk like this all the time, and then Allie's got to run away because I'm screaming in her ear. But I can't. That's the one thing about podcast. We'll figure out how to quiet myself down. I gotta just write all quiet. But what do you have?
Did you get earplugs, ear protection, or earmuffs?
Yeah, I probably should get her some sort of in-ear protection.
Or could you like turn up your mic?
Yeah, I'm turned up all the way, and it seemed like no one heard me today all day. I was talking, and it was like,
yeah, I don't know. Like I had the same thing with my Shure, like, but I dropped my Shure, so I think I fucked my Shure up. I got this other cheap one that's not like.
I upgraded
special
internet from like BS internet to real internet this week, and so everything in the broadcast is going to look a lot better from now on. Sound a lot better.
That's good.
And dude, like half of the last 10 shows, we couldn't hear what anyone was saying. Like we had to literally like listen to Allie's phone, turn down and listen and wait for the delay because it was like our internet was just everything it puts out is good, but what it sends in was bad. So the stream was running perfect. Everyone could hear me, but we couldn't hear most of the people half the time. But then like Braxton would be crystal clear, and then someone else would be, I couldn't even hear him. But anyway, it's weird.
Right.
So yeah.
I just used this cheap $20 like mic from.
I think it sounds okay. It's a little hot, it's a little trebly, but it's better than most people's. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a mic. I have another setup that I could hop on later on, but
yeah, this has been pretty funny watching the reaction going around because I just, I'm not a part of any natural law group, so I've been getting into, spread, let people know there's a podcast every week going on that is, has been really fun and has been getting better. And like without me, just at the mention of anything plant-based or vegan, these dudes just trigger. And then they're like, but they're all triggered because I'm going after Will. And everybody kisses Will's ass because he's Mark's buddy, which we don't even know if he's Mark's buddy. Justin Pedini says he talks to Mark Passio like every day on the phone, but I'm highly sus of that. So I think there's a lot of smoke and mirrors going on by these guys, and there's even more. And just watching their recent broadcasts is just, they're so unbelievably plastic and phony and unoriginal, and it's just really boring. And I have nothing to do with the Great Work Network, but I personally hold a higher level of like I'm like it's not good enough.
Well, they haven't
said it's been 6 years. Why aren't you doing great work now? You still you aren't focusing on your YouTube at all because you're not getting any views. You aren't posting anything correctly. You're not, there's not like huge engaging discussions going on with the chat, nothing like that. Like, you're supposed to actually work on YouTube if you want to get bigger on YouTube. You can't just fill a YouTube with content and claim that it's good content. I've seen people do this for years. I've been in social media marketing for over a decade. Like, this is what people do when they're faking. And if you don't have anything to offer, why even waste the time? Like, go back to rapping and rap about natural law. Like, you'll get the message out more doing that than making bullshit videos on YouTube. Without a doubt.
Yeah,
homie.
That's for sure. That's for sure, dude.
For sure.
Big time.
Even if you
Big
wrote
time,
one
Mr.
song
Peanut Butter.
and put it out in the freedom movement, it would do more for for bringing people to the understanding of natural law than continuing what he's doing now, just riding the coattails of Mark Passio and making the least common denominator quality of work. But now
that's what happens.
He's looking scammy. Now that things are looking,
That's what happens when you compromise.
Whole different fucking story, bro.
That's what happens when you compromise on principles, though, man. I mean, look, you give a little, you eat a little meat here, you do a little scam there. Like, what's the difference?
Called the Stanford prison experiment. When some people feel like they have a little power, they start wanting to manipulating the people below them. That's why we can't have government. Like, this is a real thing that can be measured from the micro to the macro since the dawn of time. You can't do that. So,
but what you can do,
yeah,
focus on your work and be the example of those people that said, no, I'm not going to push the button to kill this person. No, I'm not going to beat this guard. There were people that said, no, I'm not going to get involved. And those people that did that and said, I'm not going to be involved, other people saw them. It's like, oh shit, I could just, say no. And that's what'll change everything. And that's what you're trying to do. Because you have to be the example. You have to be like, look, no, you're not getting away with this argument this time.
What Mark asked me to do. I'm not even doing any. I'm just doing what Mark asked me to do. When I watched his videos, he was asking me to do stuff, right? That's what he's doing in most of your videos. Hey, I'm asking you to change yourself in some way. I'm just doing what I heard him say.
And you're doing it well. You're doing it right.
But he's given me more of a reason to continue doing what I've always been doing. Like, I've spent 15 years in this truth movement doing nothing but just like fucking arguing with people with no purpose. Now I look like it's like we have a purpose now. Like, these people need to learn this shit. They don't even know that they're living a satanic lifestyle and that things aren't going to end well for them. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, when I came to natural law, it was
7777. It wouldn't be a fringe movement without 7 viewers and pointless infighting. Yeah, exactly. It's because this message is not popular. People don't want to listen about how they need to change themselves. Unless Jordan Peterson's delivering it in a book, then everybody will think it's cool for 5 minutes, but they won't actually do it in their lives. They'll use it in their arguments. That's what we get. We get all these faker guys that just have this argument. Like, when I used to race cars, like all like Fast and Furious style, right? And you'd have guys that are like numbers guys, where they can talk the talk, but you get them in front of a car, they don't know what to do, but you'd think that they'd be a master mechanic because they've learned all the words, but they can't actually apply it to like modern life. And that's what I see, like I'm not a numbers guy. Like, I'm doing this shit. I've always been doing this shit. My dad taught me, like raised me to do this shit. I didn't just pick this stuff up recently, and it's been funny going into these new groups, new natural law groups full of people from like Mark's classes and stuff. and just watching the fragile egos and the things that come out of these people's mouths. Oh, we need to support Will Keller no matter what. What? That's what got us caught up in the two-party paradigm, and everything that we're stuck in now is just, oh, just support our guy because he's our guy. And this guy, but you aren't even listening to the words. He's looking at what he's doing. You're just listening to these garbage videos. And wait. Oh no, they're pulling a scam on Mark's, his Mark's students and his followers and stuff. So right when Mark's, lost his revenue source because he's not doing his podcast anymore, so people aren't helping him out by buying gifts. These guys are trying to sell all those people that would be supporting Mark a $6,000 device that they don't need, that actually turns out is dangerous. We've done some investigating, and we've found some people that are actually far more knowledgeable, people that are actually the people about these hydrogen therapy machines, and they don't like that machine at all. They don't like the price. They don't like the dosage of hydrogen. They said if you go from using that device to going and like smoking weed, that hydrogen can blow up inside you. And we have
the concentration of hydrogen. It's listed that it's such that it can explode in your lungs.
And
like that's the way they have it advertised.
Are putting their reputation and name on the line to sell a Chinese device that they claim is safe and will last 30 years and will change your life. What?
And who do you go to?
They've never been to China. They've never checked out this Taiwanese factory. They probably, I watched some videos about this high ticket sales. Marketing sales, and the guys that do it that are legit, they're very serious about knowing the company that they're selling the product for, because their reputation and job is on the line. If this is their job and how they make money, if they sell a bad product, their career's over, and they care about that career. These guys just picked the most expensive looking machine, went to that Chinese company, said, hey, if you put an ad on your website saying this thing's worth $5,000, we'll sell a shitload of them to these idiots in Mark Passio's fucking in his whatever social circle or whatever fucking is going on here. That's the other thing. These guys are doing this for social cred. They're clout chasing. I got piled on and had to leave a natural law group for posting one post. And then no, it was two posts. I was in this group for a week. I posted 2 posts, and I got piled on by a bunch of morons that were trying to claim that I was not cool because I'm criticizing their friends who they look up to, because it's all an ass kissing game up to the top to Mark. Like, it's so unbelievably cringe. And that's the problem, dude. Since I've been in this movement, so fucking cringe, man. I don't know why I've hung out in these circles like for this long, but obviously it's where, I had to learn a bunch of shit along the way. It was just really fucking slow. But thanks for the $5, man. The message is not popular, so I don't expect to get. I never expected to get lots of views, dude. Bro, I'm a vegan cyclist. I'm into crypto. I'm a vegan troll. I debate on vegan. Like, I'm the most annoying person on the planet. You think I didn't know I was signing up for this? Like, I don't give a shit. You don't know what I've done in my life. I've been around the world. I've done all the things, like, stupid, like. So these guys they have very fragile egos, and unfortunately I don't. So this is going to be a problem between me and these guys. Yeah,
that's what I found too. It really is
very, very, what's that guy's name that was in that? Doug was, I think, his name. I think he's in the Mark's class even, or maybe no, he's not. Some dude that's in this just, and they're criticizing my work, right? And they went to my page and they pulled up, like, we're doing that natural law playthrough of Fallout. Cool idea. Maybe you should be doing things like this to try and get more gamers, kids into natural law, like, and they're like, this is your best work. I'm all, well, you definitely cherry pick the living shit out of the 550 videos I have right there. But I guess I get what you're saying. So, so you guys are going to pile up on me because I'm vegan. And it was funny because a lot of the people that I posted our show from a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of people liked it. So they didn't like seeing that the vegan got thumbs up from some carnists in a group, and so they went ballistic on me. And then one of the moderators for the group, who's like running the show I was trying to help out, was going as ballistic on me as everybody else was in there. And then he wrote me this apology, basically like, oh, I wouldn't have, because they kicked me out, they kicked Ali out, and they kicked out Braxton, and we were being so cool, like just pointing out the fallacies, but being very like, whoa, wait a minute, guys, what are you talking about? Because they're like, you're making fun of Will Keller's music. And I'm like, I love Mr. Peanut Butter's song. What are you talking about? Show me where I made fun of it. I told Yvonne that she's going to like it eventually. Like, she was all, I can't get it out of my head. And I was all, go with it. It's a great song. Like, so just like fallacy upon fallacy. And then one of the guys that does the videos, I can't think of his fucking name right now, but
Peanut Butter's vegan.
Like, oh, Will Keller, I've stood on the street with like a protest, at protest with Will Keller. He's a great man. It's like, so you protested with him, therefore he's a good human being. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he's all, we're not supposed to break others down. I can't tell you how many times this last week I've had people tell me I shouldn't be breaking other people down. And Justin Panini saying I'm destroying the One Great Work Network. Like, no, you fucking idiot. I'm making it better. I'm scaring away all the scumbags. I want people to be scared before they sign up to go into Mark's fucking network. Be like, I don't know, that dude, I want them to be scared, because if they're doing good work, I'm not going to fuck with them.
Yeah, you don't see this.
Progress and their works get better, I'm not going to fuck with them. But if they keep downwardly going, oh, I'm going to fuck with them. If they're saying that they're some pillar of this community and they're teaching people and they're wanting money for their teachings, I'm going to have a problem with that. This isn't, this isn't some land where you get to like stop my speech, which is what Will did. Will and Logan immediately blocked me, everyone in my crew, thinking that they can censor us from their life. But all that did was motivate us more to go out farther and start talking to the public about them, because they would not talk to us man to man. At any point, these dickheads could hit me up. I'm public as fuck. They could come on my show. They could send me a DM if they don't want to do it in public. Fucking, hey, bro, we got off the wrong foot. But no, these dickwads talk shit and send their minions to talk shit. They're all talking about us in the background. You've seen the chat. You've seen all the chats. Like, these guys don't understand. I'm screenshotting all this shit, and we're going to go over what you say on my show. And my show's getting bigger, guys. We're getting a lot more attention, and it's not just from people in the natural law community, because I'm doing multiple things for the greater good of the world. I'm not just blowing smoke up someone's ass, making videos, repeating some stuff that some guy said. Like, bros, like, do activism, do real activism. Find a scumbag in your midst and expose them. That's what men are supposed to do. There are steps to becoming a man. I know this sounds cliche, but at first you must take care of yourself. That's the first step. Then you must take care of others around you. Take care of your family. You know, take reasonable steps forward. Take care of yourself first. Then start taking care of your family. Then you start taking care of the world. Positively. That's what it means to be a man. Not, oh, I made money for my family. Or I'm just going to be a scumbag on the internet and plagiarize people and try and make money off of it. Like, you don't see me begging for donations and trying to sell shit to the people here. Like, I figured my shit out first. Keep your fucking day job. I figured out how to be able to do content all the time. You don't just do content all the time and let your fucking life go to shit. You got to go do stuff. I've done all that stuff. You guys are noobs. Fred's in the chat. I wonder if it looks like he's having a good day. Not a bad day. Never knew who we're getting when Fred comes up here. Like these guys, man. It's all about the social scene. I could not believe when I heard what Mark was talking about in class. Like, we're supposed to be petty, literally echoing. You're supposed to be petty tyrants to these guys. Badger them until they do better work. But no, we're supposed to not break anyone down in the natural law movement. It's new age bullshit, bro. I watch these guys' shows. It's just hippie fucking bullshit. Get the fuck out of my movement, motherfuckers. Get out. Stop doing a podcast where 15 guys go up there and plagiarize Mark Passio the whole time. To nobody. Go do outreach. Teach something that you know to someone that is not in the freedom movement. Have you ever thought of doing that? Call a YouTuber. Dude, all these YouTubers respond to Instagram and shit. Almost all of them do. Hey, you into Mark Passio a lot at all? No, but I've heard the name a lot. This is what I get every time. No, but I've heard the name a lot. Cool. Well, if you ever have time to watch a few hour-long video that might really, inspire you in the direction of your content, check out this lecture. It's a little, it's a little long, but I promise you it's worth it. And if you want to eventually have him on your show, like, I can make it happen. Because and the dude is a bomb interview. He's got a lot of following, so you'll get a lot of new people to your channel. This is what you say to these guys, and they're all, fuck yeah. And then you hit them up a week later. Hey, did you get around to watching that? Here's a clip of Mark, whatever your favorite clip is. Here's a clip of Mark. If you don't have your own great content, here's a clip of Mark's that you might like the one, the Old World Florida. He's got 600,000, something like that. He's vegan. Hey, this is Mark Passio's video on carnism. There's like a 10-minute clip video somewhere floating around with a ton of views. Bomb fire the whole time. And hey, here's a clip just to inspire you a little bit. They see that clip. That's something that has to do with them. They're like, oh shit, I do want to watch this guy. Then they watch it. Hit up Burke, hit up anyone. Mark at fucking onegreatwordnetwork.com or whatonearthishappening.com. Hey, Mark, I got you an interview on a big YouTuber's channel. It's that fucking easy. I've been doing it. It takes a while. You're not always going to get a yes right off the bat. You don't stop after that. Like so many, even like people on my show, they'll get a no and they're like, oh, well, okay, that's not going to work. And it's like, no, you fight for it. It's all about the process. It took me 6 months to get Old World Florida to have Mark on, but that's all it took. I just had to hit him up for a couple months. And there you got Mark on a fucking huge network and did something for natural law, and it took you pulling your phone up to your face and typing something in, which is something you do all fucking day for no reason anyway.
Wait, Mark was on Old World Florida?
I'm aware that the movement isn't just belong to one person, but I'm talking to a specific group, very specific group. I'm also talking to anyone else too. And you could just take out the word Mark Passio and put like yourself, or, you know, you should always do shit for yourself, number one. But if you don't have your own content and you want to do something for natural law, just start using social media to get these guys into Mark and having them on his show. Oh, Chris Hines, I'm sorry. Fuck. Oh, Chris. I totally forgot. I actually forgot that I had scheduled this, so it was kind of last minute, and I was kind of having to get together several people, and I just totally didn't think you would have loved to have been in on that. You would have been great on that. Bro, Chris, I'll do a show with you every week, an early show with you if you want. I would love to get something consistent going with you to further bridge the gap between UK and USA vegans. You guys are fucking killing it out there, and it's always a little disappointing to see how good they're doing out there and how shitty, because we got veganism's wind got taken out of them because of the crazy cocoa virus. And yeah, we'll do something soon, brother. Thanks for coming on yesterday. Sorry it got interrupted by scumbag trolls. But I think we looked at what we wanted to. Chris, for some reason, whenever Chris Hines comes to my show, I get attacked by some group on YouTube. Like some huge group on YouTube's always like attacking me for some reason. He's like, "What the fuck is going on in your show, dude? You're always dealing with some crazy shit." But yeah, so I don't know what was I saying before. Yeah,
Wait,
just
you had
a little effort to promote a person, because I've worked for a bunch of guys promoting them on social media marketing. You take someone's good content and you go show it to people. It's that fucking easy. But no one like, I can't get anyone who's on my show. I can't get anyone who's on my show to promote it, hit the like button, make clips, promote clip, like post clips. Nobody, not a single person on my show will do that for me. So I understand why Mark, who's invested far more into his people, they just run off and faction off and start talking shit about him, being like, "Oh, Mark doesn't know everything." It's like, so you guys with your new group, you guys know everything, and you're telling you, and anything that I'm hearing from your group that doesn't sound like Mark is new age bullshit. We should love everyone. We should support all our brothers, no matter what, especially in their business endeavors. What? Are you fucking... Oh, I know Mark. I know Will. I know Will's heart because I protested with him once and I've been on a podcast with him. Give me a fucking break. Who are you trying to fool? Not fooling me with that shit. So yeah, I don't know. I don't want to give away too much. Next week's show is going to be fucking lit. I don't know if it's going to top last week. I don't know if 700 new people are going to come to the show like last week. That was crazy.
Wait, you had Mark on Old World Florida?
No, I want to. I was talking about like in the future. Like if it takes long. So what if it fucking took me 6 months? Dude, and when people badger you, you're more apt to cave, like it's like common sales. Like if you're like, dude, you should really, and all these guys are looking for new content and they're trying to find other big people to do videos with. And that's Mark. It's right there. He's one of the most respected dudes, at least before he went vegan, was one of the most respected dudes in the movement. So, it shouldn't be hard to hit up these YouTubers and Instagram people and just be like, "Hey, you should have Mark Passio on," or hit up Alex Jones and be like, "Hey, Mark Passio's still killing it. You should have him on." These guys are looking for content. They pay people to create content, bring content to them. So they're very open to ideas like that. So these guys just drive me crazy. They're doing nothing.
Nobody's into
dogpiled me. The guys that dogpiled me in that group, I was like, okay, where's your link to your work? Oh, he made a website. Does anyone go to it? No. Do people go to websites anymore? No. So you're using an antiquated media and you claim to be doing great work because you made some piece of antiquated media that no one uses anymore. Obsolete. No one goes to websites unless they're signing up for something they really fucking want. And none of you guys are putting out content that's worth a goddamn. Mark's at the peak and there's no one else doing anything like him. He's the only one who should be making money off of natural law fucking content before you make something that blows his shit out of the water or even your own version. Good Lord, stop plagiarizing the man. I know he's asking you to do that, but you're supposed to do that for
that's
like
the
a week.
last
And then
resort.
come up with your own versions of it, not continue week after week. I get it. You go on a show, you get more confident talking in a group and on a broadcast. It's all good. It's good to do podcasts and shit like that. But you have to leave the echo chamber. You got to bring new things in, new people in. If you think you're going to teach anyone in the world anything, you have to do outreach. I see nobody doing anything but socializing around Mark Passio and all these dudes that are now like confidently putting up content, relentlessly confidently putting up content that's just falls flat because A, they're either still up Mount Stupid and not actually practicing the shit in their lives, or B, it's just plagiarism. It's just Mark stuff over again with no words changed. You're not going to change the words at all. Like, that's how you get people is presenting them an idea that they know, but in a different, new, creative way. It's all about perspectives. That's how you change people's minds about things. Oh, you think about that way? That's a pretty clouded way to think about it. What about thinking about this way? And then they're all, oh shit, that sounds way more truthful than what I was programmed thinking, Like we're all programmed the wrong way of thinking. So we're going to approach everything the wrong way. And until you figure out how to get rid of that programming, you're going to continue doing things the wrong way. That's why Mark's so confident calling everyone trash apes, is because y'all are. 99% of everyone is. Like, there's very few people. And here I go, sounding like Mark. Very few.
True, man.
Movement actually doing the work. But anyway, yeah. So I'm just
gonna find out that you fucked with the wrong one, boy. You're gonna find out that you fucked with the wrong one, boy.
It was just so funny to have that us all get kicked out of that group and then have Mark rant on how what I was doing in that group is what everyone should be doing to each other. Everyone should be holding each other accountable. Like there's even in our group, in our the VGT live group, there's a couple non-vegans in there, and guess what? Soon they're gonna get a talking to. Hey man, what have you done this week that's for furthering, your path to going plant-based, and like if it's month after month of nothing, bye-bye. Sorry. I already got rid of Brandon Indigo Lebar for trying to sell everyone Kangen machines, which is the exact same scam. It seems like that Luke and Logan are doing. Logan Paul, the scammer, the crypto scammer. I get those two mixed up all the time. Logan Hart. But I think Will has a chance to get away from that guy. He'll be in a lot better trajectory, I think.
Yeah, and get back to making rap songs.
Yeah, seriously, bro. I've been telling them that for a while. Bro, make natural law raps, even if they're cringe. He already knows he's cringe, like Mr. Peanut Butter. Like he knew he was being funny, I hope. But like that's I hope he thinks he was being funny. But that, the whole crunk thing, it's all kind of tongue in cheek. So, doing rap rap songs about natural law, it's going to be the same kind of little cheesy, but that's how you get people to learn and listen sometimes. If you do a sick flow and it's about natural law, they're going to be, oh, that was a sick flow. Fuck. It's going to stick in their head rather than you just saying some dumb shit on YouTube that doesn't even flow. That's the thing. Like, how is he a rapper if he can't? I don't get it. It's like he trained himself to write raps. Therefore, he can't write long form anymore because I can't follow any of his shit. It's like a bunch of 2-minute. It's like he's doing a bunch of rap songs that don't rhyme and they restart every minute. Like, it's like, I don't understand like how he's not spitting fire with his fucking content, with his like rhetoric, if he's a rapper. How come he's not spitting fire and we're not all supporting him instead of critiquing him? But we were critiquing him. Now it's different. Now that he's trying to get money, large amounts of money from all of our friends. Sinful behavior, immoral behavior, if it is what they're doing. But I'm like, I can't say for a fact their intentions, but from the presentation, from what they are doing, what they have presented, it looks very fucking sus, and everybody should be very fucking sus. And I don't hear people saying that they're lining up ordering it either. And I've noticed that they didn't even have a device to present in their real life. So they don't even have this device. They just paid for the website. It's a package. You pay for a package. You get trained. You get all the slides, everything for free. These guys don't want to do what Mark did. They don't want to make up their own shit. The guy's watching the You Are the One True Media class. Will Keller watching it every time. He's Mark's fucking guy in there. Yet he wants to pay. He doesn't want to do any of the work. Any of the work that Mark is teaching. Zero. He wants to pay a scam company to do all the work for him so he could scam his friends. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I keep coming up with better ways to explain it. Like, that's what's happening.
That's what it looks like. It don't look good. It don't look good.
But then it's this mentality. Like, dude came up here and he's all, you're attacking Mark. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Maybe you saw some old clip or something where I may have criticized Mark a little bit over something very specific, but I'm not trashing Mark. And then it's all, oh, well, Will and Logan. And I was all, and that's what's happening to me right now. Everyone is thinking I'm attacking Mark or I'm attacking their fragile little egos.
Because lies get spread, and people believe those lies, and then they come on here.
Scam people. Scammers victimize too. And that's not what we're here for. Keep your fucking day job. Don't try and make money off natural law. Promote natural law in your life in every way for free. You fucking scum. How many times do I explain once money involved, your shit's out the window. Your morals will change. The bar will lower. What you put up with will lower. We're seeing that in many different ways. And you will just start wanting more money and more money and more money. And then you'll start selling more bullshit and scamming more people. And it's just, this isn't the right way of doing things. Just
definitely not.
Be an activist. Just be an activist. Whatever. If you get some YouTube revenue, that's fine. If it's fucking $20, but if you're millions of dollars going through, you're generating a shitload of tax revenue for the war machine, for subsidizations, for factory farming, all kinds of shit. So, I don't, this whole trying to make a money and what's this ancestral shit they're always talking about? So eating meat is the best thing in the world, yet you need to suck on a fucking $6,000 hydrogen. I'm giving away all my shit, dude. I gotta get off this. This is all stuff I need to say on the show. But I'm just, and on my show, I'm telling the truth. If you send me an email, I might talk about it on my show and I might show it. So these guys, like, it's like the dude sent me a message. It's like, dude, come up on my show if you want to fucking, he sent me like 7 paragraphs. And it's like, bro, come up on my show and talk to me man to man. Don't just write something where I have no chance to, I'm not going to write a fucking novel back to the guy. You know, I don't have fucking time for that. So it's like, dude, these guys are cowards. They're scared. They don't want to be made look stupid in front of all their friends in their social circle. So no one wants to actually, like, these dudes have all reacted because when they've come at me, I hit them back 10 times harder. And they're like, oh, fuck. You know, and it's always, and when I get a letter from one of these guys, they're all, oh, so I looked at a little bit more of your work. And so I decided to write you. And it's like, yeah, you watched a couple clips. You made an assumption. You had an emotional knee-jerk reaction to me because you thought you knew what I was doing. And you thought I was just being a hater, a jealous hater. But really, I back everything I say up. And so these fragile egos are triggered beyond control and will censor immediately, as if that's not how they would act if they had real power. And it just makes me laugh that these guys are judging me when I'm actually doing what Mark's asking me to do. But anyway, that's 3 hours. I didn't expect to go that long. My girlfriend's gonna fucking slit my throat if I go live another time this week. Oh, I can't believe we did 9 hours the other day, dude.
Yeah, that was wild.
Or I did 9 hours. I started an hour before you even showed up. We watched Red Bar.
8 hours.
Yeah, so Mark Passio and Red Bar. Mike Red Bar, Mike David from Red Bar, and Mark Passio are the recipe. If you want to just start watching those guys, you'll learn how to actually get to people and fight for the truth in the right way and get people to actually listen and think. Because people don't listen to nice. People don't care about this nice correspondence that everybody, you know, like a lot of people, yeah, a lot of sheep, they just want to hear nice, safe all the time. But when they're talking about, you know, serious moral things and serious problems, like we're dealing with adversaries, we absolutely do not need to be nice and just support all the time and just be positive, because that's just like, it's not interesting. It doesn't get attention. That's how humans work. Oh shit, there's drama happening. Oh, everyone looks. Oh shit, I'm being taught something because of this drama. Oh, fuck. You're just doing drama. No, actually, I'm getting quite a lot of attention to a lot of very important information. So all these
Putting
people
your
that
thoughts
just
together
trying to cause
with your
drama.
emotions, and then you have your action.
Yes, exactly. But you got to walk the walk. You can't just talk the talk and talk the talk and talk the talk. I mean, it's cool to fake it till you make it for a little bit, but not year upon year upon year upon year. You have to have some kind of progress if you expect people to respect you. But all these idiots hand their respect away at the drop of a hat. And yeah, so I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for being here. I guess we definitely won that debate. Good Lord. He didn't do much better the second time.
Yeah.
It's funny when people come up here and admit their health problems and their psychological problems and their alcoholism and drug problems to me when they're trying to debate me, because I'm just like,
Did you hear how low?
So you're what?
How low T he sounded? Like his voice was just like so feminine, dude.
Yeah, he's just getting all mad because we didn't just believe what he said, and we're like, bro, we're actually the experts on this, because you're not even, you're up here. His whole argument he based when he came back was that we didn't have enough farmland to grow everyone enough vegetables to eat. And he didn't know that we already make more. We have to make more. Like, He didn't know that we could feed the world around and then some already. He didn't know that enough, and he based his whole argument off of it.
Yeah, if we didn't have to feed just like a portion of the meat animals, right? Then we could feed ourselves with that portion of the what we say, like.
And guess what?
Oh,
Price
God.
for food would plummet. Taxes would plummet. No more subsidies.
Yeah.
Taxes. Cost of living would plummet without government's invention.
And you wouldn't have to worry about that human meat in your fast food cheeseburger.
Yeah. And all the pandemics and diseases and sicknesses, food poisoning, E. coli, salmonella, all this garbage. The fucking, what are they? Prions? Prions? Have you heard of prions, bro? Dude.
That's just bad.
It's just parasites in meat that get in us, and it kills people. And no, they don't talk about it in the mainstream because big meat and dairy doesn't want them talking about it, and they're all owned by the same families. So they don't knock on the amount of the hundreds of thousands of people that die from prions every year. Like, it's super sketchy.
We got a drug.
These people
we got
are
a drug for
promoting
that.
Yeah.
We got a drug for that.
Yeah, no, it's fine if we have drugs for it.
No. I'm saying, like, we got, we could cut you up. They have surgeries. They fund the whole health big pharma system with all these sickly people that have their blood vessels are all caked up, with all this sludge from all these carcasses.
Simply because they're still alive, they think it's proof that they're super healthy. And it's like, and like, I guess was Jeffrey arguing against? I wasn't quite sure because it sounded like he was arguing against us for a minute there. But I think I included him in the whole, like, oh, me and Christian would fuck you guys up in any physical challenge, and neither of us drink. Like, we're not alcoholics. Like what? So your example of a human with doing all these immoral, wrong things is the better diet. Like, you're coming here and you're spilling the guts that you're not happy, depressed, drinking every day. You're obviously not very healthy. He was saying he was blaming being fat on drinking beer, which is something I see a lot of these guys do. And it's like, so why are you drinking beer? Why do you have to drink beer every day? Could that be because your karmic inventory is overflowing and you're just like, you think you hate yourself, or you think you're a bad person? Like, hello, not doing that.
You got to cut that cortisol. You got to cut that cortisol with something.
Oh, cortisol is bad. Cortisol is literally the devil. Like, you should, in your head, you should see cortisol as little devil. That shit kills
the stress hormone.
That's where
what do you think?
That right there is where cancer comes from. Stress, cortisol, the stress hormone, the hormone you get when you do a low carbohydrate diet. The hormone cortisol is raised in an environment of low glucose. So all these guys and all these girls doing the carnivore and keto thing are just speeding up, going to cancer, just to lose a couple vanity pounds.
And that's why they need all.
But they could go vegan and become healthy, actually, and lose weight. But no, they want to lose weight the unhealthy way. Like, women should never fast, never do low carb, anything. Your thyroid keeps your whole shit imbalanced. And you guys already have everything fighting against you in your hormones. So adding to it by taking away your thyroid's fuel, the thing it needs to regulate the body, is batshit. Fuck, I forgot, Steve. I had a video for you to watch, and it's about oversupplementation and how I actually found something real, because this was always been a just kind of a like a common sense, like, you don't want to take too many vitamins. But then I actually saw like a pretty gnarly story about it and an article, and I was like, oh, I got to give that to Steve because I know you love vitamins. And like I said, my grandma died from taking too many vitamins, so it just freaks me out. Because you should be able to get everything you need from a plant-based diet that's somewhat, whole foods, at least mostly whole foods. So it just popped in my head again, but I'll try and find it for you. But anyway,
Okay.
yes,
Thanks,
low
man.
carb diet is very bad. Every cell in your body runs off glucose. Doesn't run off fat, doesn't run off protein. Sure, you can make some glucose with those two things, but it's not the same as putting fruit or sugar in your mouth. We have receptors on our tongue that immediately pull the carbohydrate in. It doesn't do that for fat. It doesn't do that for protein. You can look up all-cause mortality, low-carb diet on any search engine. You will get the study that proves that people that live, it's like a 28% raises the chance of the low carb diet raises the chance of all-cause mortality by 28%. And these satanic demons who are teaching this stuff to people by the millions, that's why these guys have stopped doing it. That's why the carnivore doctor's like, oh, I don't recommend people do it anymore, because for a while he was being paid by the meat and dairy industry to get people to eat more meat because people were eating less meat. The reaction of meat and dairy industry to people eating less meat for 10 years and nut milks coming on the scene and decimating the milk industry, their reaction to that was to pay buff health dietitians on YouTube,
influencers,
to create a fake diet and scam people into eating 3 times as much meat to get their profits back up. And now they're not getting paid anymore. So every single one of them is saying, don't do that. It lowered my testosterone. I couldn't sleep. All these other problems. So their guilty conscience is now making up for it. The carnivore MD and the carnivore doctor, the two guys, the two dudes that made this shit up, both say, don't do it anymore. I can't guarantee it's safe. I've had bad symptoms from it. And then the idiots in my chat today saying, I've been on carnivore. I've been on carnivore for a month. I feel great. It's like, dude, have fun with that low testosterone, pussy. And you're telling us we're soy boys. We have low testosterone, right? No, actually, there are plenty of studies that say that vegans have higher testosterone than meat eaters. So what the fuck are you guys talking about? They're just completely in denial of reality. But I gotta go. I gotta eat. I haven't eaten all day. Allie's gonna
case
be
in
back
point,
on the
our
ride
debate
home.
today. I mean, see how low T that guy
Yeah,
sounded. I mean,
exactly.
you could hear the girly in his voice.
He's squeaking, and he couldn't control his emotions,
Nope.
which is not a high testosterone thing to do. You got to have a balance. You need estrogen and you need testosterone. It's got to be in the middle. You can't go one or the other, else you end up like our guy today. And then he thinks he's supplementing his low T by eating meat, when it doesn't do that. It doesn't do anything good for you. Sure, it's protein and it's nutrients and stuff that can be absorbed, but it's not doing anything good to you. But on that note, thanks, dude. Love you. See you
man.
Sunday.
Thanks a lot. Love you too, brother.
Peace.